race, but they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come. And if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't know why I played the fucking happy hour intro. Why is that gone like that? Oh, this is a fucking epic start, Kev. Well done. Jesus fucking Christ. Ah, there we go. Right. Hello, everyone. Rocking the double Zoran today. Boom. Love to see it. How are we, chat? Are we well? On this fine Sunday evening, if you're in the right time zone. If you're not, you might be in a different day. Dickheads. How is 2026 going? Oh yeah, not too bad. How's your 2026 going? Hopefully it's well. Everyone go and follow Mad Cat Scotty Eye in chat there. Yes. Anyway, I will. We've got No Justice of the MTG variety to do some award-winning journalism, and boy howdy, have they got quite a lineup for us. Just a cavalcade of the worst human beings. As always, I suppose, but like especially today, as you might guess from the title. If you get that reference point, you know who's which particularly disgusting, vulturous mug is about to infect your eyeballs. I speak, of course, about the Dark Lord, Peter Mandelson. I don't know why I pronounced it like that. That's not. It's Peter Mandelson. Yeah. You cut some out for you black and tans. Well, to be fair, right? Sharp. It's literally it's intro music. Okay. If you want to go and listen to it, it's on fucking YouTube. And I've just realised, unless I sit up, it just looks like I'm wearing a New York Post T-shirt. It cuts off the thing, so it's just I'm just advertising the New York Post. Oh no! Oh, I hadn't considered this at all. Remember, shoulders up, Kev. Shoulders up. Yes. Anyway, yeah, you can give me money in the form of bits and sobs and that if you wanted to. Hello there, Helena.
Hello, Kevin. How are we?
Very well. How am you?
Yeah, not too bad. I've had a pretty good day today. It's Sunday, so obviously been out playing Magic all day, but I was very successful in winning, so I like winning. It's good.
See, no, I mean, usually Sunday is for saving your soul in church, and I think playing Magic the Gathering is literally the opposite of that.
True. I mean, literally, so much so that when Magic the Gathering was originally released, it was it was kind of attacked by the church for being satanic.
And rightly so. It is satanic. It is in the service of the Dark Lord himself. Yes.
I mean, the Dark Lord, or Peter Mandelson.
Hey, of which more later, unfortunately.
Lord Yum Yum is back.
Yeah.
Literally, he's like genital warts. He just won't go away.
True, and he needs to be eradicated. Anyway,
Politically, of course.
Politically, yeah, naturally.
Stop
yeah,
it.
well,
Get some help.
well, that's the good thing about Britain, is that if you're rich enough, not only do you not go to prison for being a paedophile, you get to go on TV.
That is also true. You just have your reputation laundered by the public broadcaster.
Yay! So right, it's a genocide that isn't a genocide, the kidnapping that isn't a kidnapping, and a pedo who isn't a pedo.
Basically, the reality.
Honestly, it's so 1984 it hurts. Anyway,
Hey ho, hey ho.
let's dive straight into it. Let's not muck around.
Oshua, did you want to talk about the thing that you messaged me about?
Oh, we can do if you want to. Yeah, okay. So yes, I messaged MTG, just sort of general thoughts I was after, really, about there's a story from the Independent. Hang on a second. Pay to remove ads. No, I'll just get rid of ad blocker for like 1 fucking minute. Fuck off, Independent, you cunt. Right. Yes. So. Oop-a-doop-a-doo. There we go. Oh,
1 second. Let me get this up on my end.
there we go. Right. Fucking hell. Technology, chat. Who'da thunker? We good?
Yes, all good.
Yes. So, Zach Polanski, I think a person we were both rather excited about, and I think still are excited about as leader of the Green Party. Hello there, Zach, if you're listening, mate. This is not a cancellation.
This is a discussion. This is a debate.
Yeah. And one of the things I was very impressed with is he said he would never enter a pact with Keir Starmer. Fair point, because, you know, the whole genocide thing and, various other terrible things about him. And so I sort of assumed that meant no pact with Labour. Because, if they get rid of the Starmer, is it that much better or whatever? I don't know. Anyway, this reporting from an interview with Polanski says the Greens could join a pact with Labour to stop Farage, but only if Starmer is replaced as leader. So I just sort of wanted to get your thoughts on that, I suppose.
I mean, it's definitely closer towards the realpolitik. The kind of times we live in might necessitate, right? The question, of course, is what does getting rid of Keir Starmer as leader mean in practice?
Yeah.
Because there are loads of different things about what the Labour Party is now than what it was in 2020. And it's not just the policy, and it's not just the people at the top, insofar as people in Labour HQ get replaced when the new leadership comes in, people all the way up and down the chain of command, and indeed we've seen an exodus of hundreds of thousands of members. I think 200,000 members have left in the last 6 years. So the membership of the Labour Party is different, right? So is this actually just going to be replacing someone with somebody else from Labour together, right? Would it still just be the same vassal state, pro-Israel, pro-austerity, anti-socialist Labour Party that we've had for the last 5-6 years? Or does getting rid of Keir Starmer actually mean that a bunch of the MPs, I think we all agree that we still quite like, or at least have respect for, if we don't like the fact that they're a Labour MP, the John McDonnells of this world, who are still sitting around there, or indeed all of the MPs who forced the government to U-turn on disability cuts, because clearly even the ones who were self-selected as being entirely whipped by Keir Starmer and co were clearly not well selected enough, as they still rebelled and caused this big humiliation by saying they were going to vote down this piece of legislation, which wasn't in the interest of the party, right? If this is a party that's full of people who are solely focused on what the Politburo want, they wouldn't be happy to humiliate the government with regards to how that happened in the House of Commons with the disability vote. Because I am skeptical that you can actually get to the point where the influence of the Labour Together faction of the party, which is who Keir Starmer is related with for people who don't know or are watching later, that's really built into the structures of the party now. And it was still in the structure of the party under Jeremy Corbyn as well. These were the people who tried to tank the election from the inside, these people from Labour HQ. And the question is, because, we all want to stop Farage, don't we? We all want to stop Farage. The question, of course, is, can you justify, even on a temporary basis, even on a utilitarian basis, creating even an allyship of convenience with people who have been able to toe the party line under Keir Starmer for so long? That's the question.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are a couple of ways of reading this, I think. First is that he's breathtakingly naive, which I don't think is true. And under that one, it would be, but essentially the kind of, innate liberalism of a person. He was in the Liberal Democrats. He wasn't. He doesn't come from like a leftist tradition or whatever, and seems to have forgotten that what happened to the Liberal Democrats when they jumped in bed with a far right government, or a far right party that formed the coalition government, and should never be forgiven for that. And I don't think that's the case. I think what he's doing here is essentially a kind of twofold piece of realpolitik, as you say. Firstly, he's holding out pressure on Starmer, basically saying get rid of Starmer, right? Which I think is sensible, because if you can bring down Starmer, that's for the better of the country. And frankly, whoever replaces him isn't going to improve their chances, so he isn't really going to hurt the Green Party's chances of gaining votes and seats at the next election. And secondly, he's talking to disaffected Labour voters. He's trying to allay their fears that they're just some sort of wrecking party, I think. Essentially a way of saying to Labour voters who hate Farage and hate Starmer but aren't sure about the Greens, well, we're basically like the Labour Party that you loved, but with the policies of the Labour Party that you loved.
Because the policy platform is basically Corbynism, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, it's
radically different, isn't it?
It was. I mean, this was centrist Labour politics until Thatcher. This wasn't radical at all. This wasn't, seen as some insurgent leftist anything. This was really, really standard stuff. I mean, some of the economic stuff was the stuff that Tory economics was built around until the 1970s as well.
It's like the existence of the business cycle and counter-cyclical stimulus that just kind of stopped after 2010.
Yeah, it's going back to the thing that actually made Britain the most prosperous it's ever been. Yeah, okay, let's go back to that. I don't mind that at all. And so he's essentially, like I say, holding out that sort of fig leaf to Labour voters, I think, and saying, I'm essentially the Labour Party you wanted the Labour Party to be.
Yeah, the problem, of course, is that how much do we think in electoral terms, right? So if you're just purely thinking on grounds of what's the best electorally for the Greens, what do we think is more likely here? That them saying we think that the hatred of the Labour Party is tied to Starmer as an individual, or his leadership team as a group of people, the Politburo as I would call them, or is it now tied to the Labour Party more generally? Are we telling non-voters who we're trying to win, right, like the people who are disengaged from politics entirely, who we're offering a fig leaf to bring them into the voting fold and create a new universe of voters, as the Mamdani campaign described it when they were bringing in non-primary voters to try and vote for Mamdani in the Democratic primary? If we're trying to do that, is any talk of an allyship with the Labour Party under any circumstances, is that damaging our credibility as an insurgent party, right? And another thing as well is that, do we think that at least part of this, if you look at the polling from YouGov, like 80% or something of Green Party supporters support the idea of a coalition government between the Green Party and the Labour Party as long as Zach Polanski is Prime Minister? Because I think you'd get a lot more people to vote Green who are scared of Nigel Farage, who are already politically engaged, by saying, well, if we have this electoral pact and Greens are on 20% and Labour on 14%, then that will lead to a tactical vote that could lead to the outcome where the Greens become the ascendant party and Labour are the ones who have to follow our lead on policy. But then, of course, again, it comes down to, like, if your red line is about Starmer, is that just rhetoric, or is it about policy, right? Are we saying, well, actually, we say get rid of Starmer because we know Starmer is hated and everyone wants rid of Starmer, and of course, getting rid of Starmer and his policy platform would indeed make it less likely for reform to be ascendant in the wake of Labour failure? Or is that's essentially rhetoric to the audience to say, we hate who you hate, but here's the policies we want actually them to capitulate on, and that's what we're really talking about here. There's lots of levels to this.
Well, there is, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be as complicated as that. I think, frankly, the tactic being employed by the Polanski kind of people, or whatever, the Polanski campaign, is really quite simple, in that it's essentially trying to pull over the disaffected, really. And so this screams to me about how he's prepared to do something that might not necessarily be very popular, but for the betterment of the country, i.e. stopping Nigel Farage, even if he's not actually really prepared to jump into bed with Labour at all. But you signal that you would be. Which, like, you can consider that to be slightly dishonest or disingenuous or whatever if you wanted to. But this is politics. This is just the way, unfortunately, that it goes. It's a world full of snakes. It's a nest of vipers.
true.
And so, essentially, doing the. I mean, I'm going to say the word sensible, but don't overreact. I don't mean it in the fucking JOB sense. This is sensible politics. Not the politics of the sensibles, sensible politics. Actually, just straightforward, relatively cost-free and potentially beneficial signalling. That's all this is. And so I was fine with it, but I understand that some people would feel uneasy. Because, again, this sort of screams of the... Nick Clegg jumping into bed with the far right on the back of left-wing votes. You know, a lot of very left-wing people held their nose and voted for Nick Clegg's Liberal Democrats because they were anti-war, they were anti-tuition fees, they generally signalled a kind of middle road progressivism, and then jumped into bed with the most reactionary government we've ever had.
Yeah, and that's a really big point. Again, and another thing I think is worth pointing out here too is that if the point here, which is perfectly reasonable if this was the case, would be to say, well, look, the biggest thing that's going to lead to Farage being Prime Minister is just Labour being shit because of Keir Starmer. Get rid of him so that the country doesn't fall to the dogs. And I'm like, well, all that does is make the Green Party less electable in the long term if the country is better, right? The Green Party feasts off Labour failure. If anything, we don't want Starmer to be replaced. If anything, we really don't want Starmer to be replaced. We want him to be continuing as leader and to obliterate the Labour Party. And if our long-term goal is replacing the Labour Party, which it should be, because the Labour Party for the last 30, 40 years has been the biggest obstacle towards progressive change in this country because they refuse to fight the Tories on anything other than their own turf, then anything that helps the Labour Party recover by getting rid of easily their biggest kind of Achilles heel, which is the fact that their leader is a monster in every possible sense of the word, that's bad for us.
I mean, yes and no. You've got to toe a line here because you can't just think of it in terms of self-interest. You've got to think of it in terms of what would A, be good for the country, and B, what the country wants. There are a lot of people who might think of voting for the Green Party who are desperately scared of Farage becoming Prime Minister. And so anything that would stop that would seem potentially worthwhile to them. And so just signalling that you might be getting involved with this would be good. And also, let's be honest, look, if Keir Starmer is there at the next election, which seems very unlikely, but if he is, Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, the big problem here.
Yeah.
So it's really tough. It's really tough because, at the end of the day, on a moral level, I bounce off this hugely. I immediately bounce off this when you're essentially trying to tell me you should ally, right, to stop somebody whose policies are bad domestically with somebody who's like with a party that's full of people who acquiesced at the very least to somebody who supported a genocide.
No,
right?
I completely understand that. Yeah. And again, but the thing is, we're kind of agreeing hypothetically, or disagreeing hypothetically with a deal that doesn't exist. That may never exist, that he doesn't necessarily even intend to ever follow through on. But I just thought this was sort of worth bringing up anyway.
It's complex, isn't it? It's really complex.
Politics is fucking is weird and complicated. Yeah, that's just the way of it.
I've seen a lot of people just immediately dismissing this as going, "Oh, Zach Polanski's cucked out. He's failed. He's libbed out," and I'm just like, "Well, what do you think politics is?"
Yeah.
Right? I guess it's real politics. This is exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people who do that aren't. Again, I'm going to use the word serious. Don't overreact. These are not serious people.
I mean, they're not serious.
No,
exactly. Well, they aren't serious. I mean, because there's a difference between the idea that the policy is unserious, which is what you get from the media, and then there's an approach to politics, as in the politics of winning, right?
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of the fact that people are jumping over Zoran Mamdani because he said, maybe don't say how much of a fan of Hamas you are at your protest. And people are jumping all over and like, oh, I'm a secret Zionist. And I'm just like, well, do you want to win, right? Or do you want to be like the most woke person in the queue for the concentration camp?
Well, exactly. Honestly, it's an overused meme, but the meme of what's her fucking name? Talking about they don't want power, they just want to endlessly critique power. thing. It is so true in this particular instance. It's overused because people just use it in generally whenever you critique anything, but it's I think it's true in the case of people like that who will say, look, unless Zohran Mamdani literally swears allegiance to Hamas and writes it in blood, he's a Zionist. You're a freak. I'm sorry, you're a fucking freak who hurts the left. Shut the fuck up. Jesus.
I mean, what I would think would be interesting, the way this would work out, I think, the best for the Green Party, is if they don't replace Starmer. Is if the Labour Party don't replace Starmer, and a year and a half down the line, the Labour Party are sitting at 12% of the polls or some shit, and they reach the olive branch out in the other direction now that the Greens are polling above them consistently, and go, please help us, please throw us the life jacket to save us from drowning in the midst of the maelstrom of our own creation. And you go, you had your fucking chance, mate. And it would be the perfect message to the public to say, look, we had your chance, right? You had your chance. The Labour Party had their chance to take the olive branch that we had extended. They chose to rebuke us and think they could go it alone. And now look what's going to happen at the next election. We were the ones who were offering it. They turned it down. Your only option now, given we're significantly ahead of the Labour Party, is to vote for us to stop Farage. And then we usurp the Labour Party. And it's the perfect foil for people who would say we're acting spoiler, going, well, no, the only spoiler here is the Labour Party because they were the ones who refused to reach out when this was up in the air.
Yeah.
But now we're consistently ahead. They're the ones asking us, and tough shit, mate. We're in the ascendancy, and the voters have to follow us.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah, it's gone are the days where the Labour Party could scare people by saying, we're the only ones who can stop the Tories. No, you're the ones now wrecking. You're the ones splitting votes. Get fucked. Enjoy all for the praise and pathetic fucking being able to take a nice smiley picture with JD Vance or Benjamin Netanyahu, Mr. Lammy. You have destroyed the Labour Party, one of the most successful, intrinsically worthwhile progressive forces in British politics ever. Thank you, you cunt.
So it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see. I mean, because again, if it comes down to it, it's like no one can accuse the Green Party of being wreckers in 3 years' time. Now that this has happened, but again, the problem is how many people will look at this and go, well, hang on a minute, like we now hate the Labour Party, not just Keir Starmer, and why would we ever vote for a Green Party that even thought about allying with them? There's different layers of nuance here. I don't know what the correct answer is.
Yeah, I think there are more potentially disaffected Labour voters than there are people who are like who would be offended by this or be put off voting by this. Like, even under Keir Starmer, they still got a reasonable percentage of the vote, far larger than the Green Party have ever gotten. So if we can pull 10% of those people away, you've done really well. That's, I think, the kind of mathematics of it, but yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to our award-winning journalism?
Let's do that.
Righto.
With Lord Yum Yum himself.
Indeed.
That's Sir Lord Yum Yum.
Protests on the streets of Iran. Trump's claims to Venezuela and Greenland. The world is spinning. Maybe your heads are too. Kemi Badenoch is with us today to talk about all that.
Also, people... Kermit Baddy Frog or something. I don't know. Apparently they're leader of the Conservative Party. Never. Who are they? What's that? I don't know. But yeah, and Heidi Alexander, who is literally 2 times the person that Kemi Badenoch is.
And her plan to ban...
But he's also just a Tory. That's,
social media for kids. And remember, politics is always local too. The Transport Secretary is here to talk about those maddening potholes. And Lord Mandelson breaks his silence after his dramatic sacking. In his first and exclusive interview, we talk Trump.
So having failed to launder the Prime Minister's image last week, she's going to try and presumably fail to do so for Lord Mandelson as well. It's fun, isn't it? In Britain, you can kill people with COVID and austerity and end up in the Lords. You can be a child rapist and friend of a child rapist and become ambassador to the United States and be in the Lords. Cool. Very, very cool and normal.
Epstein.
Just want to point out, by the way, still has the Labour whip.
It's insane. It's insane he has Labour whip after the fact that he knew about
Yep.
the fucking. He literally, what's it said to Jeffrey Epstein? It's terrible that you're getting banged up for this.
Yep.
I also want to say thank you again. A Beer Man Dread did another 50 gifties. It's incredibly generous of you. Thank you.
And what number 10 really knew.
Did you deserve to be sacked?
I understand why I was sacked.
It's a different question.
And our team at the desk for the next hour.
I mean, literally, the three of them look like fucking spitting image puppets.
So true.
I mean, Oswald Mosley's grandson, who is the head of the genuinely comic book evil Palantir. Brilliant, thanks. I just... Why do we have to pay the TV license for this fucking shit? Really?
Honestly.
Editor of The Economist, Zanny Minton-Meadows, former Labour MP and broadcaster, Gloria De Piero, and the UK boss of the tech and defence firm Palantir, Louis Mosley.
Grandson of Oswald Mosley.
Yeah. And his granddad would be proud of the fascistic level of authoritarian control Palantir wished to implement.
Well, it was funny when Louis Mosley was asked about Labour's totally undemocratic digital ID system, was like, well, actually, we don't think it's a good idea because the public aren't bought into it. And I'm just like when your plans are so ill thought out and so publicly hated that even fucking the comic book villains go, no thanks, mate.
Yeah. Thank you, Ella, for resubscribing for 10 months, and thank you, Fuzzmos, for gifting a sub. I don't know why did I not turn my alert box back on? It's not working, whatever it is. Anyway, yes. And thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a membership on YouTube. Much love.
Morning. Let's start, as we always do, with what is making the news. And let's show you straight away the pictures of the lead story here at the BBC, those protests spreading right across Iran in 100...
Again, it's interesting that in both Iran and the United States there are huge protests about government overreach and authoritarianism. It's interesting to see which one the Western media want to focus on.
It must be frustrating being an Iranian and being like, your choice is client state monarchy or Islamic theocracy. Your choice, like that meme with the two castles, but they're both just the black awful one.
Which way, Persian man?
100 towns and cities now. Many have been killed or injured in the protests, but there is hope on the streets that they could be seeing the end of the Ayatollah's regime. The Telegraph splashes on Donald Trump's vow to help in Iran, but has an interesting nugget too, claiming the Prime Minister here might send troops to Greenland.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Well, what? We're gonna defend Greenland from America?
I mean, this, quite frankly, is at least something of a pullback from his total fucking obsequiousness to Donald Trump, and go it's clearly not meant to be. We will repel the forces of America. It's supposed to be a show of we refuse to let this be done without an international incident.
Right, but Trump knows if they walk in, those British troops aren't going to shoot. They could arrive at Nuuk, which, by the way, is the name of the capital of Greenland, which is ironic, I suppose, and no British troop would fire on them. You can't do anything about this. It reminds me of there was a leftist party in Denmark during the Cold War, whose foreign policy, jokingly they referred to it as, we would get rid of all of the army except one man, and we would pay for him to sit at the border, and if the Russians arrive, they would just say, we surrender. Because, literally, what is the point? You're not going to be able to stop. If the Russians pour over the East German border into Denmark, that's it. We can't stop them. So what's the point in pissing away all this money on an army that is useless? We might as well spend that money on things that do work, like roads and schools and hospitals and stuff, So yeah, and the same is basically true now. The Danish army and the British army and all of the armies of Europe combined aren't going to stop the Americans walking into Greenland if they want to. We could make it annoying for them on the international stage. We could make it very, very embarrassing. But we couldn't actually stop them. So sending, I don't know, 24 troops to nuke is pointless. Like, it's nonsense, you know? And you know damn well that if it happened, Keir Starmer would come out and be like, we're monitoring the situation. I don't have an opinion, obviously, because America did it, therefore good.
I mean, what's interesting, I think, that the single force that would actually be preventative of this happening is the American military generals. The inside scoop is that loads of the American military generals are going, no, we will refuse orders to invade Greenland.
Yeah, and rightly so, because again, it's in law now. It's international law, as if that's still a thing, that you have not just the right but the duty to disobey illegal orders. You can't just say I was following orders. You have to take it upon yourself. And they have, like you say, the only real ability in the world to stop this. But ultimately, I think it's a feint anyway. I think he's doing it to distract from the actual war or invasion he wants to do in Venezuela. Because, like, the reason he's giving for why they need Greenland, they already have. They already have a massive fucking base in Greenland. They already have exactly the same security they would have without having to have Greenland as a 51st state.
Well, yeah, it's the sovereign territory of a NATO member.
Yeah.
Right, like, this is already essentially just fucking American territory, kind of de facto.
Yeah. Would Canada get involved? Again, what the fuck is Canada going to do? No offence, Canadian Army, but, like, you're not going to stop them.
No, quite. I mean, the thing is, that's why you know that it's nothing to do with the Trump administration's claims of Arctic territorial defense against Russia and China, because again, they already have that, as you say.
Yeah,
right?
They have a massive nuclear base there, base there. Yeah.
Yeah, the actual reality is that it's about the fact that they believe that the entirety of the Western Hemisphere belongs to them.
Yeah,
and this is the outpost that
True.
is on the eastern side of the Western Hemisphere.
Although it's very funny to me that they've done this whole thing with Venezuela, and yet the Venezuelan government has just continued. Like, Trump was thinking, oh, well, that'll just bring it down. But it's, no, they have a system in place, and now the vice president becomes the president, and they carry on.
I mean, the thing is, she's just said she's happy to do the oil deal as long as she gets to live, which is quite funny.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think that it was a bit more nuanced than that. And again, she's making noises to try and placate the situation rather than ramping up.
Apparently, vans are driving around Venezuela trying to find people sympathetic to the US. And I'm just like,
yeah, good luck.
Hold
with
up,
that.
let them cook. Yeah. Let them cook.
Yeah, absolutely. And to install the real president, Juan Guaido.
So true.
What happened to him? What happened to him? The real president of everything.
Oh, he's going to be the next Labour leader.
Fuck yes. Prime Minister. Prime Minister. Oh, Prime Minister Guaido. Just give Trump the FIFA Greenland prize and he'll be happy. True.
The Observer and the Mail on Sunday both splash on the dizzying array of events around the world and how the UK is responding, with very different takes. But the tabloids take a different tack on some other stories. The Sunday Mirror says the Manchester Arena bomb victims' families are helping the victims of the Southport attack. And The Sun predicts that Megan Sussex might head back to the UK.
Who
So,
cares?
welcome to all three of you. It's been a very intense week of news. Zanny, if you're watching at home this morning and frankly you don't know much about Iran, you could be absolutely forgiven for that. Why does what we're seeing on the streets there matter so much to us too?
Because these are the largest protests in Iran since at least 2009.
Oh, that's a belter, by the way, in chat. I saw a satirical article claiming Greenland was going to rename itself Epstein Island so Trump would stop talking about it.
That's great. Love that.
That is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Hundreds of thousands of incredibly brave people on the streets and a massive crackdown now. We don't know how many have been killed and injured, but likely in the hundreds. This could be the beginning of the end of the most repressive, awful regime that has since 1979 poisoned the Middle East. It's poisoned it through...
Unlike our friends and allies in Saudi Arabia.
Or Israel.
Or any other number of theocracies that are pro-Western and therefore are good.
I mean, that is so funny. The reality that they're very happy to do diplomatic deals with people who fucking chop up American journalists with a chainsaw and then go, yeah, but it's fine because they sell us oil,
Yep.
and Iran won't sell us oil, so we think that they're bad. And it is also funny. One of the most incredibly tilting things I keep hearing is, I don't see many of the pro-Palestinian celebrities offering their support to the Iranian protesters. I'm like, what good would that do? Like, what would us, rightly supporting the self-determination politically of the people of Iran to determine their own future and not that of the Ayatollah?
Yeah.
What would that do? Like, what would we campaign for our government to do? To continue doing the sanctions and condemnations they're already doing? To break off their trading relationships they don't have? To stop selling the weapons that they don't sell? Right? Like, we already have a government that's actively hostile to the Iranian regime. What would us protesting do? And the reality, of course, is that right-wingers don't understand what protest is for. They think that all protest is just, we have an opinion, I want you to hear it, and not, we would like material politics to change and we have demands.
Yeah.
Except they understand that perfectly well when it's, I don't know, farmers getting mad about paying the taxes everyone else pays.
True. I mean, literally, to the point where Al-Qaeda are now our friends because they'll sell us Syrian oil. But, the really repressive ones are Iran.
And it's so funny, right? Like, our biggest ally in the region in Syria is the SDF in Kurdistan. And the fall of the Assad regime has allowed Turkey to pile even further into Syria and Kurdistan, right? And like, just, yeah, we're very happy to have an Al-Qaeda shoot-off being in charge, who take no action to prevent the incursions into Kurdistan by Turkey. And so we're just happy to fucking give up our support for the SDF just because we hate Assad more than we like Kurdistan, which is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Support for terrorism, it's poisoned it by trying to get a nuclear bomb. So potentially this is absolutely game-changing in the Middle East, but I would really caution about a couple.
Is there anyone else in the Middle East who illegally got a bomb? Any other countries that illegally obtain nuclear weapons in the Middle East? Anywhere? No? Okay, no. Well, thankfully there isn't, and therefore we can move on.
And the thing is, and if Iran tried to bomb their nuclear sites, rather be treated as an absolutely grave violation of the norms of conflict, right? But when America do it to Iran, it's perfectly fine.
Or when Israel do it to Iran, which they've done many times.
Firstly, even in 1979, it took more than a year for the regime to fall, so this could take a long time. Secondly, moments like this, when the regime is on the back foot, are really dangerous. I would really worry. I was just in Israel. They are really worried about Iranian attacks. And finally,
Maybe shouldn't have started a war with them then, I guess.
Yeah, we shouldn't start stealing territory from Syria and running around acting Billy Big Bollocks.
Yeah.
Even if you get a regime change, you might get an even worse part of the regime taking over. So this is very, very big moment.
Wow, are you suggesting that there can be negative outcomes to Western interference in other people's countries? That's crazy.
And what is funny as well is that literally Peter Hegseth fucking in May was saying liberal interventionism doesn't work. We can't think that we can police the world and impose our kind of politics on people who don't want it. And then just like 10 minutes later, me and the bestie, liberal interventionists, if Iran starts attacking protesters, we'll happily jump in and start imperializing them. And I'm just like, make your fucking mind up, Pete.
Well, because it's Trump. Ultimately, it's President fucking God King Daddy Trump who has the memory of a goldfish. 1 minute he's like, NATO's over, it's the worst thing ever, imperialism bad, America should do isolationism. And the next second he's like, I want to literally flatten Caracas. I own all of America. Like, he's just a fucking lunatic with no consistency whatsoever. And he's a paedophile. Just putting that out there.
I mean, Donald Trump, has plenty of accusations.
See, why you got a hedge like that? You know he's a nonce. You absolutely know he's a nonce.
He's certainly a rapist. We literally he's been found as civilly liable for rape in court. Like, he's under no illusion this man is a fucking rapist.
True.
Politically, but also at a human level. Hundreds of people potentially losing their lives.
With incredible courage, though, to go out and protest in that way. I mean, Gloria, when there's so much going on around the world, which feels at the moment quite frenzied, How hard is that for Keir Starmer when most voters are understandably more focused on what's happening in their own lives?
Well, Keir Starmer is good on the international stage, and I think...
What are you talking about? What is that as a sentence? Keir Starmer is good on the international stage? Where? When?
I mean...
When he's scrabbling around at Trump's fucking feet? Picking up papers for him?
I mean, this is what people think is good on the international stage. Being America's good little bitch. I mean, that's what's always been the case in UK politics. Whether you're Sir Trilateral Commission, or whether you're Tony Blair, or whether you're Call Me David Cameron, right? Doesn't matter who you are. Your role as a British statesperson is to do the bidding of the White House and the US State Department. And that is what being good on the global stage looks like.
Brilliant. Thanks. I mean, again, so we've got Tory tonight. That's it. Nothing more.
The country, and I certainly trust him to make the right decisions, actually posed quite well in that regard. But, as you say, he made a promise to the British people, including on your show last week, that the cost of living was his #1 priority. Nothing must distract him from that. I would also point to the fact that he has the other sort of issues, domestic issues for the Prime Minister, securing our borders, also welfare. He has got 2 exceptional people in those jobs, new to those jobs, in Pat McFadden and Shabana Mahmood. And I think if we see...
So he's going to do these really right-wing things, and he's got these right-wing fucking goat fuckers in there. Brilliant. Thanks.
That's the first and last time anyone will ever describe Pat McFadden as exceptional in the positive sense.
Well, it's exceptional in that he's a corpse who somehow lives. So he's got that going for him, you know?
I mean, it is the very first time that Nosferatu the vampire has ever held a cabinet position.
No, Michael Howard was in the cabinet. What are you talking about?
Oh, true. Oh, I'm beaten to the punch by Michael Howard. How embarrassing.
That is
tragic,
yeah.
But on a serious point, again, like, all these people believe is that the role of the Secretary for Department of the Work and Pensions is just to cut as many people off of welfare as possible. And they keep talking about this as if this was the reality, which was that Labour failed on welfare and that's why people don't like them, because they couldn't get the cuts through that everyone knew should happen, right? It's become total kind of received wisdom in our political media class that the cuts are necessary, people do need to get off of disability, and the government's failure to do that is why they're in the doldrums. I'm like, no, they're in the doldrums, losing votes to their left, to the Green Party, and to a lesser extent on this particular issue, the Liberal Democrats, by saying we want to fucking put hundreds of thousands of disabled people into poverty for no fucking reason. The express opposite of what they said they were going to do in their manifesto. But because essentially anyone who votes Green is not welcome in terms of the discussion or the interest of our political and media class, that's irrelevant. The only people who matter are all of the Tory opposition who say that welfare has to go down.
Yep.
But no, the people don't want this. Starmer's unpopularity is uniquely high because all of the right-wing pensioners who are mad about the winter fuel allowance were never going to vote for them anyway. They were already going to be unpopular there, but they have lost votes from both sides because Green voters and progressive voters don't want to fucking impoverish the disabled.
Yep.
Progress on those 3 things, if I were here at this time next year, we could be looking at a very different fortunes for the government.
Louis, with the pace, though...
No. Just no.
...of Donald Trump's interventions around the world feeling to speed up, even if politicians in their own countries want to concentrate on matters closer to home, does it feel to you like this year is some kind of junction?
I think the signs have been there for a long time. Next month will be the 4th anniversary of the war in Ukraine. The world has been on fire for some time. What that means is hard power matters again. That's what's changed. Okay. And what's happened in Iran is the result of that. We forget that it's economic collapse and military humiliation because of what Israel and the US did 6 months ago.
Okay, well, we will see.
What?
We'll see what our guest this morning has.
What? No. People are mad in Iran because they don't have civil rights. People are mad in Iran because they don't want an Islamic theocracy and they want liberal democracy. It has nothing to do with the military humiliation of Iran. No, they don't want to be fucked. They don't want to have the money they pay in taxes going towards just continually trying to fight wars they know they're never going to win, and they want them to go into public services. The economic downturn is the result of shitty policy and the government. not the fact that Israel beat Iran in a war that's humiliated the Ayatollah. These people were already against it at the time when fucking Maya Amini was assassinated.
Also,
right?
it wasn't. They weren't really beaten, because like Israel came to the table because Iran was able to successfully strike back and fire on Israeli cities, including hitting the IDF headquarters, I think. Like, Israel decided it didn't want the smoke. It threw hands. It very much enjoyed the fucking around portion. It did not enjoy the finding out section of the process, and so decided, okay, let's just do the peace thing and call it a dub.
Well, that's of course. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, the reason why, of course, the UK boss of Palantir is trying to uniquely place the actions of the Iranian citizenry onto the power of the US and Israeli military operation that they did in blowing up a bunch of the nuclear test sites or the nuclear research sites and assassinating Hamas leaders in Iran.
Yeah.
Is because, of course, he wants it to be about him, because as he works for Palantir, the spy tech firm, the strategic partnership between the US, the UK, and Israel is where they get to test all of their different evil fucking things.
Yeah.
The Palantir guinea pigs are the Palestinians. They have been the Western technological military guinea pigs for the past fucking half a century.
Yep. Absolutely.
I have to say about all of that, thank you all of you for now. Well, last week, Sir Keir Starmer vowed that he would still be in the Prime Minister's seat in 2027. Kemi Badenoch, the Tory leader, looks set to be there
Who? Who's that? What?
too. After a rocky start in the job, the Conservatives' mood has gone from glum to showing some signs of hope, as their dreadful poll ratings are showing some signs of picking up.
Honestly, this is just the establishment media nonsense all the time. It's just a megaphone for the things that the fucking the dinner party media class want you to think. They've gone up from the worst result in their history to still the worst result in their history. If there was an election today, bounce back.
Literally, yeah, it's like they've gone from like 16% in the polls to 20% in the polls. And I'm like, that is, yeah, as you say, even worse than the humiliating rout of the last general election. I'm like, oh, Kemi's, she's bringing him back. She's taking it up. And I'm like,
it's got very big Alan Partridge, I've bounced back energy.
But if people might think that you haven't bounced back, yes, I know, but we can't make them think that.
Yeah. Did you know she drove to Aberdeen in her bare feet, eating nothing but Toblerone?
I believe that. I believe that. Whilst also hacking into Harriet Harman's website.
True.
But in the second of our New Year interviews with the party leaders, let's find out how she would handle dramatic events around the world and talk about your plans to ban social media for kids, a subject we know is close to many of our viewers' hearts. Good morning to you.
Actually. Good morning. Before we move on to Kevin, on the subject of social media bans, Kevin, what's your opinion on the government potentially banning Twitter?
Awesome. Yeah, do it. Do it now. You should have done it yesterday. It's a fascist shithole site full of Nazis and child porn. Yeah, ban it.
I mean, I totally agree, right? But it's interesting that the kind of accidental situation we've ended up in, where Grok is doing sexualized images of children with essentially no guardrails on it other than as long as you pay money to Elon, you get to make the child porn, right? That's been a perfect excuse for Western governments to look at this, again, Nazi recruitment factory, because that's what's happening. It's become a disinformation spreading machine to break the brains of people without the media literacy to understand what's true and what's not, to understand what's AI and what's not, to understand what is totally kind of fabricated on art at the whims of the richest man in the world wanting to create, again, white ethno-states, because he's a white nationalist, white guy from South Africa, who'd have thunk it, right? And this child porn scandal, this Twitter child porn scandal, has been the perfect way of being able to ban it for political reasons with plausible deniability.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they absolutely should. 100%. Also, it just goes to show you, have you ever met a good white South African?
So true.
Like, they must exist, but I've never met one.
And the fact that Craig Kieswetter?
Well, I don't know what he's like as a person. He was a decent opening batsman in 2020 format. but
That's true.
I don't know that he was a good person.
Sometimes maybe
Kev-
good,
But
sometimes maybe
basically
shit.
all of my knowledge of white South Africans comes from Colpack players who played for England.
Basically, yeah. Kevin Peterson, wrong un.
Bella,
Yeah.
dickheads.
Yeah. Charlize Theron, I suppose it seems okay.
Sometimes maybe
Oh,
good,
yeah, but she was in
sometimes
Hancock
maybe
and I thought
shit.
it was fucking terrible.
Well, yeah, but that's not a moral stain upon her.
Oh,
I don't
Wee
think.
Jock has got it. Andrew Feinstein. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure there are some, like I say, but most of them, like.
I mean, true.
Sometimes
To
maybe
be
good,
clear,
sometimes
chat,
maybe
we're
shit.
quoting a song from Spitting Image here.
Yeah.
To be people who don't know the reference.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway.
What's interesting is that, because I saw that it was reported today that it's actually spreading further in that there's discussion between the UK, Australian, and Canadian governments to all ban Twitter together, right? Like the Australian government have already started banning social media for kids, for under 16s, right? Apart from Discord. Apparently you can't watch tutorial videos on YouTube, but you can become someone's Discord kitten in Albanese's Australia.
Good. That's positive. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely, that is the that is just the way the world works. But yeah, I'm glad to see that there is a kind of force majeure, because I don't think people really quite understand the level to which that Twitter is just Elon Musk's pet project to radicalize the world, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't actually genuinely believe that it's the open forum for public debate, it's
No,
the
of course not.
international town square. He doesn't believe in any of that shit. He wants to radicalize people. He wants to use it as a recruitment tool, an electoral tool, which is why he was out there doing the biddings of foreign governments during their election period, because he wants to get close to power.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. He literally banned opposition accounts in Turkey during the Turkish election at the behest of the Turkish government. And yeah, he wants to say that it's free speech. Everyone, I'm a free speech absolutist. No, you're a
exactly.
cunt. You're an evil bastard trying to radicalize the world. Yeah, get wrecked.
Yeah, it's just never been the case that Twitter was the free speech realm under Elon Musk. Kind of say cisgender nowadays more, which is quite funny. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, we're in the billionaires' world. They've realised that in a world of ever shrinking economic growth, it's not about how much you can grow each economy, it's how much that you can get of what already exists. How much can you divide up the already existing pie? And of course, that revolves around distracting people with things that are non-economic in nature rather than fighting the oligarchs, right? Again, they're making you fight a culture war so you don't fight a class war. Easiest way to make people fight a culture war is to boost AI shit fucking slop videos about migrants or refugees, or unban Tommy Robinson and allow him to become, the Israel's strongest soldier. That's the way of trying to get people distracted from the real fight, which is against people like Elon Musk.
Yep. Thank you, Andrina, with 5 gifted memberships on the YouTubes.
You've used the phrase "get serious" a lot in speeches and interviews. When the world is in such
Is she blinking more than normal? She's blinking a lot.
turmoil, do you think the UK is not a serious country?
I think we have been complacent for a very long time, and what I want to see is a stronger Britain and a government that works fully in our national interest. And what that means is making sure that we are a strong economy, can fund our defence properly, and we are taken seriously by other countries around the world, rather than people who ignore our rules, exploit our laws and legislation. And I don't think we've been doing that for a very long time.
But you've also said that the Prime Minister needs to be stronger, to use your phrase, when it comes to events around the world. If you look at what's happened in the last week, the government did a deal with other countries to send troops to Ukraine if there's a peace deal. The RAF bombed an Islamic State arms dump in Syria, and the military helped the US seize a tanker off the coast of Iceland and Scotland. So on top of that, what else would you...
Just a cheeky bit of piracy, you know?
I mean, it's really funny to me that Kay Baylock's position here is that actually Keir Starmer needs to be more of Trump's fleshlight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think he's deep throating hard enough. Actually.
Yeah, I think there aren't enough stains on this cum rag yet.
True.
Yeah. I mean, it's just again, because what's so funny is these people purport to be British patriots. Same is true of Reform, and they're not. They're Ameriboos.
Yeah,
they
are.
Totally, yeah. They're literally just fucking. And their voters are too. Their voters want us to be more like America as well. It's fucking miserable.
Yeah. Well, she was literally like, at least Keir Starmer came out and hedged his bets about Venezuela. She just came out and said, "Yeah, no, this was good. I'm glad he did this."
Yeah.
Like she's an actual demon, an actual literal fucking imp from the seventh circle of hell.
True. So thank you, Jenny, for the £5 super chat. Leader of the Welsh Green Party, Anthony Slaughter, is a South African who left to escape the draft. Well, how fucking based, right? Well, he's British as he comes now. Andrew Feinstein is Jewish, so I'm not sure I feel is also white as such. Also very true, yeah.
Okay, I was joking. I know there are good white South Africans. There are just lots of very bad ones as well. Oscar Pistorius. Just saying.
You do.
Well, what I would like to see is the strengthening of our country. We are deindustrializing, for example.
No, wrong tense. We have deindustrialized. It has happened. We're not deindustrializing. We don't have industry.
And it's literally your ideology that caused it, right?
Yeah. Thatcherism destroyed it to the point where we've now got like 2 fucking factories. And one of them has been taken down by fucking website interference. Jesus.
It's fucking incredible to me. It's absolutely insane to me that both the Tories and Reform are talking about the failures of deindustrialization and how we need to bring jobs back to the left-behind communities by reindustrializing. And I'm just like, how do you think that happens?
Yep.
How do you think that happens, Kemi and Nigel? Do you think industry pops up out of the ether? Right, if the free market, which both of these people have been committed supporters of, like Nigel Farage calls himself like the last Thatcherite, Kemi Badenoch's political hero is Margaret Thatcher, and their ideology of free market capitalism is literally why we do not have industry anymore, because they pulled the industry out of the UK because we didn't have capital controls. They believe in the free movement of capital across borders, not people, that's the difference, and all the capital moved to the fucking Philippines and Bangladesh, where it's much cheaper because the Labour has even fewer workers' rights than we have here. The race to the bottom they tried to win and then lost by getting rid of our workers' rights, and that's why we're in this position. The whole point of reindustrialization is that it requires industrial policy. It requires state interference in the economy. It requires the state to put public money into, at the very least, subsidy, if not public ownership, right? Of course, subsidy would be shit and it should be public ownership, but these people believe in public ownership even less than they believe in subsidies. So let's just cross one hurdle before we get to it. And neither of them want to do industrial policy because they both want to do fucking tax cuts, right?
Yeah.
They both want to do dumb as shit tax cuts to make us even more of an undertaxed nation than we already are. How the fuck do you think you're going to reindustrialize? Just magicking it out of just going to businesses and go, oh, pretty please.
No, you just press the reindustrialization button.
Literally, it's just insane. And then they're trying to go to the fact that, it's one thing, Kemi Badenoch trying to go to the communities that the Tories destroyed.
Yeah.
Going, please vote for us, we'll bring you back the steel jobs, we'll bring you back the production jobs that you used to have. The jobs were only good because of trade unions, by the way. They weren't good jobs because manufacturing is necessarily a good job. They were good because they were highly unionized. That's a really good important point that Dean Baker pointed out pretty well. Great economist, worth following. And they hate unions too, right? But no one's taking Kemi Badenoch seriously because, of course, she's a Tory, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that Nigel Farage is duping these people into thinking that his plan for reindustrialization will work by dumping, quote, net stupid zero, as if petrochemical companies are just going to come swanning back into the UK when we don't even have that much left in the North Sea anyway. And why would you build a refinery here when you can build it elsewhere and get cheaper labour?
True.
No, that's not going to work. And he's duping them into voting for him when he has no industrial policy either.
True.
The only party that I can see that has a real industrial policy is the Green Party. The Labour Party pretend to have one, and that they're leaving the jobs in Port Talbot and Grangemouth just on the scrap heap, proverbially. SNP not doing that much better in fixing the problems of Labour in Scotland. And Plaid Cymru haven't got the power to affect Port Talbot at time of recording. Maybe they'll be good in the Senate when they win the Senedd come May, fingers crossed, inshallah. It's just the Green Party who have a proper industrial policy because we want to actually put huge amounts of expansionary funding into new industry, for new green industry, to try and push forward towards not just a transition that gets us off of oil and gas, but retrains and invest in the communities that would be left behind by a transition that wasn't done with those people's jobs in mind, which is why Labour are going to be failing, because they're getting rid of Grangemouth without the programmes necessary to make sure that that community has an industry. That's what the Green Party are offering. And people think the Greens are going to make us poor and get rid of all the business. Like, no, we're the only ones with the strategy to deal with this problem.
Literally, yeah. And that was the problem when they shut the coal mines. It wasn't that the coal mines were inherently good, because they weren't great places to work. And, of course, we now know that they were bad for the environment. But what you can't do is shut down the entire economy of a town and replace it with nothing and hope that that just works. Because it doesn't. You devastate a town and a region by doing so, and they have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these people, all the jobs, right, all the investment, because the economy didn't collapse, the economy kept growing, there was still investment, right? But it all went into service industry jobs in the cities, which is why all young people live in cities now.
Yep.
That's where all the jobs are. All these ex-industrial towns are fucking wastelands, and it's a shame that they are. But that's not the fault of the people who've moved away to go and live in cities, the metropolitan liberal elites they're described as. No, they're just going where the shitty jobs are, right?
Yeah.
These aren't good jobs in the service sector. They're not middle class because they're just at an office desk. It's still fucking shitty minimum wage admin or call center work. It doesn't make it any less edifying than putting things together in a factory. But the big problem really is that there will be no reason for them to invest in manufacturing when it's so much cheaper elsewhere, both in terms of import costs now because we're outside the European Union, and in terms of labour costs too.
Yeah.
Plans which the Prime Minister has, along with Ed Miliband, on net zero, are meaning that we're losing our manufacturing capacity. Electricity is very expensive, businesses are closing, unemployment is going up. So the economy...
Okay, how do you explain the fact that industry has been closing massively long before even the concept of green policy was a thing?
It's just like, as well, like she talks about energy prices going up. Yeah, who was in charge of the energy system in this country for 14 fucking years? You were Business and Trade Secretary, right? If anyone could have attracted new businesses to this country, it should have been you.
Yep.
You're like literally fucking patient zero for the state of business in this country.
Literally. Yeah.
The economy is not doing well, which means it's harder to fund defence. Right now, the Strategic Defence Review, which the Prime Minister commissioned, has a huge shortfall. There's not enough money. So we want to see the strengthening of our economy, of our defence, and we will work with him to get there.
But when it comes to foreign policy, which is on the front of people's minds so much this weekend, what else would you do? What does be stronger mean? Would you, for example...
Be stronger. Like, it's so silly. It's like one of those things, it's an idea from In the Thick of It or something. Or what should our slogan be? Be stronger.
Like, just drink, like, eat that can of spinach like Popeye and watch the muscles bulge, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Just
that's her strategy.
Just press the stronger button. It's fine.
Send UK troops, perhaps alongside NATO, to Greenland to help secure that country?
It's about being more strategic and thinking more about the long term. So what I would do, for instance, would be stop this ridiculous surrender of British sovereign territory in the Chagos Islands.
Chagos, 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 Chagos. The big issue that all British people really fucking care about, Kemi. She's got a finger on the pulse, this one.
The deal that was signed by fucking James Cleverly.
Honestly,
I'm just gonna get a drink 1 sec.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, the Tories are so pathetic. They're so pathetic, as if that's the thing you would go to. The Chagos Islands. I promise you, as a British person, nobody cares about the Chagos Islands. Not a single person gives a fuck. They couldn't point to it on a map. They don't know what it is. They couldn't give a shit. And yet she's still banging on about it months and months and months later. Fucking freak. Absolute freak. God almighty.
Us £35 billion to give away, to give away something that we have to a country that is allied with China. That is not thinking strategically.
But I think specifically this weekend, there are very pressing questions.
Yes.
The President of the United States has threatened a NATO ally. There are suggestions this morning that the UK might respond to help that situation by promising...
I love that the response here is him goes, what about the Chagos Islands? And Laura Kuenssberg like, hang on a minute, there are real issues here.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. Like, I mean, like there's threats of invading a NATO ally and you're banging on about the fucking Chagos Islands.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Don't waste my fucking time with the Chagos Islands, bitch. We're talking about Greenland and Venezuela and shit. Let's be serious, shall we? Adults in the room, cunt. Let's go.
Some of its own troops to Greenland. So is that something you would recommend? Would you support that?
Well, first of all, I was completely shocked to even hear the comments about Greenland. And I stood up, last week with the Prime Minister saying what he said was absolutely right. We need to make sure that we support NATO countries.
But what would you do about it?
Yeah.
America's a NATO country. So if America wants Greenland, you support America in taking Greenland, right? Because it's a NATO country.
But you also go to war with America for invading a NATO country.
Well,
you can trigger Article 5.
Well, this is the thing, right? It would lead to a never-ending, refracted, all-out war of all NATO nations against all other NATO nations. Hear me out. America invades Denmark, which means that Article 5 would be triggered on behalf of Denmark, and then all the nations would then declare war on America, which means that they would have to declare an Article 5 against themselves for having attacked a NATO nation in America, which means America would then have to declare war on all of them, and then an Article 5 on them for attacking all the other people, which would then make them attack them, and it would just go on forever and ever and ever, a never-ending refraction of Article 5 declarations of war against every nation by every other nation.
Imagine if you're China watching this, right?
Like the policy, do nothing and win. It works.
It's just like it's just amazing. Like people go like, our long-time ally, the United States, we're having to try and frantically scramble military might of Europe to try and stop them from fucking invading Denmark and Greenland, right?
Yeah.
And what meanwhile China is just like, yeah, we're going to build some green energy in the United Kingdom, we're going to build some infrastructure and some trains in Serbia, and we're going to do some energy production in France, and we will have this nice little mutually beneficial economic arrangement. And America's just like, fuck you, I want your land.
Yeah.
It's just everything they tell us about China is true of America.
Literally.
And it's just not true of China at all.
Literally so, yeah. It's mad. We were talking about this on stream the other day about the handing over of Hong Kong back to China, and about how it was the 99-year lease and all the rest of it, and that China realistically could have taken it before then, but why bother? Sit back and wait. Do nothing, win. Just like they could have taken, by the 80s they were strong enough, they could have just walked in and Britain couldn't have stopped them. But they just went, nah, fuck it, just sit back and wait. We'll get it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just like the people keep worrying about the possibility of China invading Taiwan. I'm just like, eventually the Taiwanese will just go like, well, tying ourselves the dying US empire is not worth it. Might as well just fucking rejoin at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, the Taiwanese government is it must be sitting back thinking, oh, we're fucked here. Because
really fucking the wrong dog.
Yeah, as soon as America invade like Greenland or whatever, then China has no reason not to just go, we'll take ourselves a cheeky little Taiwan, I reckon.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to stop
that's
it,
basically
right?
that's the reality of the breakdown of the international rules-based order is that, and Donald Trump will let him. Trump will let him. He doesn't care about the reality of the kind of the chip arrangements that they have, the production arrangements they have with Taiwan, the economic interdependence. All they care about as well is that's China's sphere of influence. So what the fuck do we care about this?
Yep. Was Elon Musk a secret Maoist CCP accelerationist this whole time? Yes.
True.
Yes, he was. Comrade Musk.
Yes,
Our very own Liz Truss.
What exactly is the threat we're talking about? What I'm not going to do is give a blank check. What is the reason why we are sending troops to Greenland? Is that for defense? Is that to make sure that we are being more serious? NATO spending has been well below what it should be across the countries. So it's all about the specifics.
No, it isn't.
What I'm not going to do...
Yeah, no, it
Most
isn't.
countries hit their NATO spending.
Yeah. Also, again, when it comes to spending a penny on schools, how can we afford this? You're bankrupting the country. Oh, what's that? We need more money for the military. The money tree!
Military Keynesianism is the only type of Keynesianism these people will recognise.
True.
Have an operational conversation when I don't have, the level of security briefings in detail which the Prime Minister has.
But hang
what
on,
I'm doing is setting out a broader strategy about what kind of country we need to be. The world is changing. The rules-based order is quite clearly breaking down. How are we strengthening ourselves? What I'm not going to do is pretend to be a military general and give operational details about where exactly we would send troops. That is not my job. My job is to hold the government to account over.
No, you're right. You want to be Prime Minister, so it is your job to tell us what you would do instead. That actually is your job. Literally, to tell us where you would place British troops.
You are the leader of the opposition. You are the shadow to the commander-in-chief of the military.
Yeah, like, well, technically not. Technically, that's the king. But yeah, the person who actually decides practically where the troops get sent. Yeah. Because again, for anyone outside the UK, you know how your military swears allegiance to your constitution, right? That seems like a good thing. As does it to the monarch and all their heirs and successors, because we're literally a medieval throwback shithole.
In the words of Doug Stanhope, is this a country or a Renaissance festival?
Literally, yeah. Like that Doug Stanhope bit is really good. He's like, I was coming over to Europe during this was during George Bush, and he was like, I'm really embarrassed because we got this George Bush guy and he's a fucking idiot. And then I remember, you've got a queen. Like, at least we elected our fucking idiot. So true.
But there is a specific issue presented in front of us right now. You've been very happy, and you said that they were shocking comments. You've been happy to criticise Donald Trump's comments about Greenland. The question now is for other leaders to decide what to do about it.
And this is one of the rare instances where I think Donald Trump wouldn't actually wants people to condemn him for this. And I'll explain why. Again, I think this is a ruse. I think this is throwing up smoke in front of the real thing, which is he just did war against Venezuela. And while we're talking about Greenland, we're not talking about Venezuela. Yeah. And Israel's fine with that, again, because we're not talking about Israel. We're talking about Greenland. And so the fact that all the world leaders like Denmark and Britain and blah, 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 and NATO have all said, this is bad, actually. We shouldn't do this, just means more of the media chatter is not about Venezuela. So he's absolutely fine with everyone coming out and giving their mealy-mouthed, maybe we shouldn't do this. This is a bad idea, actually, because it just takes up more of the space. It's more covering fire.
It is worth pointing out, though, is if Keir Starmer is of the opinion that he's happy to support Trump in his invasion of Venezuela, then the logical conclusion is that he shouldn't follow the deal for the Chagos Islands.
Yeah.
That's the logical conclusion is, well, if the international law doesn't matter with fucking abducting members of foreign states and make them face domestic charges of ownership of machine guns as a head of state, dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, right? But then international law is meaningless, and therefore acquiescing to the United Nations over the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands is pointless in a world of hard power, you know?
Yeah, we should invade the Chagos Islands.
Well, of course, the reality is that what should happen is that the Chagosians should be able to decide for themselves. But of course, these people are totally left out of the entire discussion. It's about Western military, kind of the Western military sphere and ownership of Diego Garcia, rather than the actual people who grew up and lived on the land.
Well, have we considered taking the islands back to Britain and putting them in the British Museum on display?
So true.
That seems like the only sensible solution, you know.
You support a proposal to send British troops as part of a NATO deployment to help secure Greenland, that really important strategic bit of geography in the world.
Right now,
someone in my chat says Ireland should invade England. All I'll say is, as the son of an Irishman, we're already here. We've already invaded and taken over, motherfuckers.
Be worried about is whether there's even going to be a NATO. We need to make sure we keep the US on side. Talking about putting troops to settle a dispute between NATO members, I think, is getting ahead of ourselves. We need to make sure.
That's the question
but
right now.
Well, I disagree. I disagree with the premise of the question. And what I'm seeing right now is protests in Iran, a strategic threat to NATO, to our country. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Greenland, which actually I believe
How is Iran a strategic threat to us?
They might they might invade Greenland and the Chagos Islands. So, like,
incredible, really. Like, again, no one out here is being a fucking Ayatollah stan.
Yeah.
No one's out here like standing for Khomeini. Like, we're out here going, this shouldn't be our concern. We should be, again, like, if anyone is a threat to this country, it's the fucking United States.
Yeah.
Versus what is happening right now. Of course, we need to make sure that we secure NATO countries, and we stand with Greenland, we stand with Denmark, but right now, talking about troops as if we are going to war with the US, I don't want your viewers to be confused about what it is that the priority is. The priority right now...
I am saying the great replacement is Irish people, yes. Yeah.
Let's fucking go. You're winning.
We are winning. Because you know what? We breed like fucking rabbits. That is theologically correct, okay?
Is the British national interest. What are we doing to make our country safer? Making sure NATO is stronger.
But this is exactly the point.
Key.
The threat to Greenland, which you've just said is a second-order issue, is the United States, which has been part of NATO for decades, making a threat to another member of NATO. So in what way is that a second-order issue?
To what is happening today, right now, we are seeing protests in Iran.
And I'll ask you about that in a second.
Yes,
but if you're saying securing Greenland is not
because this is hypothetical. The US has not invaded Greenland. So what I don't want us to do...
Oh, wow. So I don't need to do anything until it already happens. I'm promising you I will be nothing but a reactive politician, and I have no actual plans or basis of morality for anything I believe in.
The leader of the opposition's official policy is, I will cross that bridge when we come to it.
Amazing, thanks. Well, I'm glad that the Prime Minister's job isn't to protect us against future possibilities. And it's just, whatever happens, we'll deal with it. Fuck it. Why have plans for anything?
I mean, to be fair, this has basically been the Conservative approach to the economy for the last 45 years.
Well, that is, that they've basically gone like, we don't need to actually, forward think anything. We'll just deal with it as it happens.
Yeah, they heard that Stalin had 5-year plans, and now they think that the concept of having a plan is communism.
They have concepts of a plan, though.
So true.
Start escalating a conversation well beyond where it has got to. There has been a communique released by lots of European countries saying that they stand with Greenland, that they disagree with President Trump's comments. Let's pause that there and look at what is happening today. Where are the security issues? And what I see from President Trump with what's happening, with
security issues in America.
Venezuela has
literally, it's literally America.
Been helping Iran. He is looking strategically at the axis of authoritarian states, Russia, Iran, China, North Korea. What do we do about that? And we need to get serious and start thinking on that.
He's looking at the axis of Russia and going, please have Eastern Ukraine, right? We're gonna finish the war. And I'm like, his finishing the war is Ukraine should give Russia everything that it wants and then I get a peace prize. That is his finishing the war.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. They want Ukrainian capitulation so that Trump can say, I got a deal. Even though he said he'd have a deal on day one, and we're now on day, nearly 300 or something? More? Actually, more than that, because, it's so the 340 or something, and he still hasn't got a fucking deal. And, realistically, we're nowhere near to a fucking deal, either. Like, there've been talks, so that's nice.
Because the Ukrainians have looked at a deal that's gone capitulate entirely and gone, fuck off, maybe?
Yeah.
No?
And you might say sunk cost fallacy, but, they have sunk that cost. And that cost is a lot of human blood. They're not just going to be like, fuck it. Look, this is the thing. In Trump's world, everything is transactional. But in reality, that isn't real. People's lives aren't just transactional. The Ukrainian people aren't going to give up the kind of territory they want for the fact that they've lost so many people. That isn't a transaction they could ever possibly sign off to.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen. Whereas to Trump's really annoyed, like, why won't you just agree? Why won't you just agree to give up that territory? Why does it matter? I want the deal. Which, of course, shows that he doesn't actually know the art of the deal at all.
No.
Scale to protect our country.
But you believe that's not the most pressing issue right now. So let's talk about that very pressing issue then. What is happening in Iran? Should the US and its allies intervene in some way to help bring an end to the Ayatollah's regime?
Well, it's extraordinary what we're seeing. This is a country that has repressed women probably more than any other.
Unlike Saudi Arabia, our friends, who are very nice to women in every conceivable way.
Yeah, or indeed to American journalists.
Or American journalists still literally execute people publicly.
But there's a Mr. Beast theme park now, so that makes them the good guys.
Oh, and the Spanish Super Cup was held there today, so that was nice.
Yeah, and like the UFC International fucking Championship or some shit.
Yeah. And they had the Riyadh Comedy Festival. So they're clearly very nice and awesome, actually. I really like them.
kills gay people. You see these protests and you just hope that they finally succeed. There have been many protests in the Middle East that have ended quite badly. I was very supportive, for example, when Israel had strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities.
Well, you do surprise me. You do surprise me, because I thought you were a sensible person, but apparently it turns out you're a massive prick. Cool.
Iran would very happily wipe out the UK if it thought it could get away with it. It has tried to kill people on our soil. It is an enemy. You know, it calls us the little Satan. So no, I don't.
Yeah, to be fair, we are, though.
I mean, like, yeah, please point where that is incorrect.
Yeah, like, you can't bring up their dobs and be like, this is silly. No, they were correct on that, yeah.
Have an issue with removing a regime that is trying to harm us. It has its terrorist outposts with Hezbollah all across the world. But what I want us to do is try and
it was
find
crazy,
a way to
right? It was crazy, like the Axis of Resistance, the Iranian-funded and backed opposition to Saudi Arabia and Israel more broadly, right? That's fuck all to do with this. That is quite literally, I mean, I guess the Balfour Declaration is kind of our fault. And by kind of, I mean entirely our fault. But at this point in time, like, unless you think of Israel as literally an extension of the United Kingdom, well, funny you should say that. But unless that's your position, then they serve no opposition to us at all, right? If we hadn't interfered in the Middle East ourselves, they wouldn't give a fucking shit. They wouldn't care. They would not care about Blighty, the insignificant little fucking European island.
Yeah. As pointed out in chat, yeah, in what country was a woman killed by a fascist state actor? When did that was that Iran this week, or was that the United States?
Sure. As a country, we are strong. We protect ourselves from threats and reduce the escalation of what I see around the world, an increasing escalation of conflict everywhere. What can we do to reduce that?
You say that you wouldn't have a problem with that regime being removed, but do you think it would be right for America and its allies to help with the removal of that regime?
I think given the threat that we're seeing to the people, I think that would be right. If we were seeing the kind of things that we've seen in other countries, where there were mass massacres we're hearing about, the hospitals being full, it's absolutely terrifying. I don't think a lot of people realize just how scary.
Wow, hospitals being full. At least they have hospitals, because in Palestine they've been literally destroyed by Israel. And then this week, did you see yet again the lawyers for Israel people taking that one guy to court again for like the 10th time or something? Yeah, he was a British surgeon who went over to Palestine to work on the many horrific surgery cases necessary there, and has come back and revealed what he saw and his lived experience there, and he's been taken to court and to tribunal, the fucking BMA and various other places several times, obviously vexatiously, and has cost him over $100,000 to defend himself, and again has been rejected. At what point do you start taking these people seriously? At what point do you say, no, you're obviously not a... Abu Ghassan, thank you, yes. At what point do you stop taking the lawyers for Israel people seriously and say, like, you're obviously doing vexatious claims, this is ridiculous?
Yeah. 100%.
The same with the campaign against anti-Semitism. You're not good faith actors. Stop letting them use British institutions to fucking harass British people, please.
I mean, literally, at least the campaign against anti-Semitism now have it on record that they are vexatious.
Literally, yeah. The judge literally said this has to be shown to the next judge, or to every successive judge that you go before. Basically, as these people are not to be trusted. Don't take them seriously. Which is virtually unprecedented. I don't think that's ever happened before. So obviously, fucking bad faith are they?
Regime is, and just how far it has spread its tentacles.
So what could the UK's part in helping to remove that regime be?
Well, you've seen the recent RAF strikes, for instance, in Syria. Without over speculating, we are talking about hypothetical situations. We have worked in alliance with other countries. I think this has to be something that we do with a broad coalition of countries. That is the right way to do it, and to make sure that we create a stable Iran. The worst possible thing would be for this to escalate to a point where the situation gets worse, not better.
But are you suggesting that there could be some form of military intervention then? Because you just said, as we did in Syria, there have been repeated Western allies bombing on Syria to try and go after Islamic State. Are you suggesting that there could be some form of military intervention to help get rid of the Iranian
regime?
regime?
About our national interest. The strikes, for instance, in Syria, were making sure we do not allow terrorists who want to destroy our country to propagate and to succeed. So it all depends on exactly what the situation is. What I don't want to do is talk as if I know exactly what it is we'd be going in to do, what and why. But I think your viewers should understand.
But you, again, that is your job. You need to have fucking policy. What the fuck is this? What is this? Why are you even in that position? Why do you want to be leader of the opposition? Why do you want to be prime minister if you don't have any idea of what you want to fucking do? That doesn't make sense to me.
They're in this real bind. Is that there's this kind of this unwritten rule that you just kind of ignore criticism of the government on foreign policy for no reason. Basically, there's no reason why this should be fucking a gentleman's agreement, right? But this basically has been the case for a very long time, that they just all agree that foreign policy is the same. But like, this is all just way different in the modern era. And so that's coming into contact with the fact that Kemi Badenoch wants to oppose Labour on the grounds that they are the Labour Party, right? Like, on no other grounds than that. So you've got to find reasons to disagree, but disagree in a way that doesn't disagree too much. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And where I stand for our country. And what I can see is that there are strong countries
Red, white, and
who
blue
don't want to obey
Brexit.
the
That's what
rules.
she wants.
We need to try and keep that order going, but we need to support
No,
the countries who want to do right.
What? You miss fucking Israel shill saying we need to keep the international rules-based order going. I'm sorry, where does genocide fit into your calculations, Kemi?
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
Are democratic and work with them in order to achieve that.
And many democracies are, at this moment of danger for the world, are thinking about bringing back one or another form of conscription. The Conservative Manifesto in 2024 talked about a form of national service for young people. Should the UK think about something more radical, some kind of form of conscription?
The national service at the last election was not conscription.
Yes, it was a different thing.
Yes, it was something.
Yeah, it was a farce. Yeah, everyone laughed at it. It was ridiculous. They were going to send people on like 2-week-long boot camp things. It was fucking.
It was Duke
awful.
of Edinburgh. It was mandatory Duke of Edinburgh. That's what it was.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You're going to abseil in fucking Caerphilly for a week. And that's your national service. Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with it, but like, it's not really a solution to anything at all. Like, yeah, free donkey rides. Yeah, I'm down with it, but it's not really good public policy because it doesn't achieve anything.
No.
Should something more dramatic now be on the table?
I think it is quite clear that we don't have enough people in our army. But what we need in order to get there is to spend more money on defence. And right now, the government isn't spending enough. It is spending money on welfare. It has its plans for how much welfare it's going to spend till 2031. It doesn't know beyond next year what it's spending on defence.
Would you like to see more young people go into the military? Would you want your own kids to go into the military?
Well, yes. I think my son has even said, jokingly, that he would quite like to be a soldier. But it's about defending our country. I'm worried the young people don't see us as a cohesive country anymore. They don't know what they're fighting for. It's quite important that we give them something to fight for.
Whoa. Okay, incredibly perceptive here from Kermit Baddenfrog in saying that, well, young people don't know what they're fighting for. They don't feel like there's a country worth fighting for. I'm like, yes, your party fucking destroyed it, right? Your ideology fucking destroyed it. There is no such thing as society, is the words of your hero, Margaret Thatcher. That society was eviscerated from the inside out by the neoliberal economic policy that you supported for decades and decades and decades, right? Why would anybody care to fight for their country when you're fighting for a bunch of assets that the country have sold off to other people? Or we're going to be fighting for an energy system owned by foreign governments, for trains owned by foreign governments, I guess, until they've been nationalized, right? Where all of the wealth of this country is owned by fucking a tiny handful of oligarchs and regular people own nothing, right? If people want to go and fight to defend this country, maybe the people who own it should fight for it. Maybe the kids of the rich people should go and fight for it, right? But am I going to fight for a fucking high street full of McDonald's and KFC? No, I am not.
No, you're going to go and fight and die for Palantir.
True.
And fucking BlackRock and all these evil bastards. Yeah, that's who you're going to go and fight and die for. BP.
Remind them of how amazing our country is and that it is worth fighting for.
And we've talked before, actually, about
No, it
your
isn't.
concerns about
No.
young people and
Like,
how
I'm
they see
sorry.
themselves.
It just isn't worth fighting for.
No.
I hate to burst your bubble, Kevin, but like, sorry, I was talking to Kemi Badenoch there, and I realised I thought it sounded like I was talking to you because Kevin is our funny name for Kemi, regardless, right? But like, it just isn't worth fighting for. Like, why would it be for any person under the age of 50? What's this country giving you?
The middle finger?
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. Like, no house, no job, no career, no future, no planet, fucking nothing.
Yep.
Fucking you've gotten like crisp, in-swinging Yorkers from Jimmy Anderson. That's it. That's what you've been gifted by this country.
Yeah, true. Don't talk about cricket. I don't like it. I don't like it. Good to see Jacob Bethel get a score though, but
True.
And how they see the country. And so many viewers are in touch with us on a regular basis about one of the things they worry about, which is kids and technology and the worst successes of the internet, although of course there are all sorts of benefits too. You're saying today, not just that the Tories would ban phones in schools, which you've said that before, but that you would actually ban social media for under 16s.
Yes, we want to bring in age limits. I don't like the word ban, but what we are seeing is...
Okay, but it is a ban. I don't give a fuck if you don't like the word ban. It is a ban. Stop fucking... Again, a genocide is a genocide, a ban is a ban, a kidnapping is a kidnapping. Stop lying to us.
A lot of children spending so many hours a day on platforms that are profiting from their anxiety, from their distraction, and they are actually designed to be addictive. So what we want to see is common sense, protection for children and freedom for adults. We want to give parents some understanding that the government understands what they're going through. So
Basically,
we want to
right,
bring in age
okay.
limits.
Her position is it's absolutely fine the fact that the algorithms are designed to be addictive and break people's brains, right? Very happy for this to happen to boomers, just not kids. I'm just like, I don't know.
The
I mean,
internet is
the
a Wild West
algorithm's the
social-
problem. It's very easy to just ban kids. It's much more difficult to take on the tech oligarchs who thrive off of the AdSense revenue generated by constantly keeping people addicted to their phones, right?
Yeah.
And that will happen regardless of the age. But, you know, taking on the tech oligarchs is not what she's there for. She's there to serve the tech oligarchs.
Very much so.
Social media in particular, we don't think children should be on there, and we want the industry to see the direction of travel so that we can start working with them now in order to get the proper solutions in place.
You don't like the word ban, but an age limit would be a ban if you're saying that under 16s are not allowed.
Whoa! Journalism alert! Woo! Woo! Journalism has happened! Well done. Well done. You picked up on a pertinent point, and you're now going to, hopefully, ram that point home. I believe in you, Laura. Come on now.
Allowed to use social media platforms. That is
Yes.
a ban by
Yeah,
any
yes, it is. But the instinct is about distinguishing between
So
children.
why don't you like the word ban then, if that is literally your policy?
Just to fucking smoke it. Just say it's a ban. What do you have? What on earth do you lose by calling it a ban?
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Mad.
Children and adults. We treat children like adults too often, and sometimes we treat adults like children. Let's bring some common
Yeah, I know your backbenchers do like to fuck children. Yeah, we know.
sense into it. And, you know, I say this as a mother, myself, 3 children. I worked in tech. It is so difficult and so complicated. And you get the peer pressure, you know, parents feeling that, well, we've got to do it because everybody else is on there. I'm not saying it's going to solve everything. There will be children who find workarounds, just as there are kids who get fake IDs to buy their beer. But this will help get a critical mass of children off social media.
It's interesting there, as part of your reflection on this, is from your own family. I mean, how difficult is it in the Badenoch household to get the kids off the phones?
Yeah.
Ah, see, I gave her credit for doing a serious question, and now it's slop again. Straight back. She never does a journalism twice in a row, chat. Never.
Yes, my oldest has just got into year 8. She's just been given a phone. She's not allowed to use social media on it. I've put all the restrictions on there, and it's very hard to manage.
Yeah, and she's got a VPN and doesn't give a fuck.
There are ways to get around it. But I also see just how addictive, even from my own usage of social media, I can see how it's designed to keep you on there again and again and again. And we're also seeing a huge increase in depression and anxiety, mental health issues. Some of this correlates quite strongly.
Jesus, it literally is the old boomer thing of, oh, they're just on their phones all the time. That's what the depression's all about. It's just it's not the fact that we've created a fucking hellscape of fire and blood for them. No. It's the phones.
Yeah, it's the easiest way of palming off the responsibility of the fucked society that's been created for young people. But yeah, they're sad because of too much phone.
It was too good to
And
last.
whilst it's certainly not helped, but the problem is that everyone is getting made mad by by again the tech algorithms, by social media algorithms, by the big tech companies. The phones aren't the problem. Phones are great little pieces of tech. They are incredible.
Yeah.
Pieces of engineering and pieces of design, and to their credit, pieces of as consumer items, right? In terms of how they've been.
Well, you say consumer items. Most of that technology was developed in the public sector, of course. Just putting that out there.
That is of course true, as well, right? Like the actual piece of technology, the kit is incredible. It's an incredible kind of monument to human achievement and human ingenuity.
Well, literally,
right?
the entire knowledge of the world is now contained in your pocket.
Which is incredible. People still fucking too stupid to Google something.
Yeah.
I saw someone go, "What's going on with Sleaford mods in Palestine?" I was something about a flag, and I'm just like, "Just use Google."
Yeah.
Google Sleaford mods Palestine flag, and you will find the story.
Yeah.
Right? Just Google it. But anyway, you're right. The entirety of the human wealth of civilizational knowledge is condensed into a thing in your hand. It is an incredible monument to human achievement, right?
Yep.
And that's not the problem. It is not the technology that's the problem. It's the companies. It's capitalism. It's the profit motive. It is the endless desire for infinite shareholder value to chase more VC coming from these tech oligarchs, right?
Yeah.
Like they are trying to colonize your time.
Well, literally, I mean, as with all technological advance, it's never used for human good, only for the greed of bastards. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like we've seen within every industrial revolution, instead of freeing humanity from the toil of work, it just means you work harder for more money for some rich bastard. That's it. That's all it ever means.
Strongly with social media use. We're having people come out of university, go straight onto benefits. We want to curb that. So all of this is linked with our wider strategy. Banning phones in schools, getting people into work. All of these are bricks.
Sure, Kemi. Yeah, sure. The youth unemployment problem has been caused by the fucking phones. Yeah, okay.
True. Sure. It's not Thatcherism. It's phones. Thank you, Rise Again. Much love to you. Don't forget, of course, chat. Rather than being a slave to the algorithm, be a slave to my financial needs. See what I did there? What a segue. And you can do so in the form of bits and subs and subscriptions and all of that jazz on the YouTubes and the Twitches. And, of course, be very generous with my co-hostess with the co-mostess, No Justice of the MTGs.
Please give me money.
In terms, though, of that addiction point, it's interesting you say that also for some adults. Are there platforms or sites that you feel sometimes a bit addicted to? I remember reading once that you played rather a lot of Candy Crush.
I don't know where that came from.
What the fuck is this interview now? What is this?
I mean, she could literally bring up the fact the New Statesman reported that she would literally shut herself in her car and just scroll Twitter endlessly, right? Like, she is literally the prime example of a politician who's had her brain broken by social media. May I remind everybody for the 15,000th time, because it's incredibly funny, that she literally included the phrase, "I'm going to be a leader who's not scared of Doctor Who," in her pitch to be the Conservative Party leader, right? To be the leader of the opposition. She talked about her Twitter beef with David Tennant.
Yeah.
That's how brain broken she is by social media. She is the poster child for social media brain rot. And she is in no position to lecture anybody else on the dangers of social media.
True, but the question again, I went too far. I gave some praise to the award-winning journalist, and now she's like, "Oh, you like the Candy Crush?" Oh, for fuck's sake!
I have never played.
Oh well, we're correcting the record.
No, never played Candy Crush. No, it's with the I use Instagram. And it's actually, there are lots of funny things that go on. And you go on it to check a message, and then half an hour later, you realize that you've just been looking at memes and things like that. It is designed to be addictive. Adults should be able to cope with that. And
She was given the easiest toss-up there, and she managed to sort of elucidate the point you were making about, like, oh yeah, no, I'm addicted to it as well. Yeah, no, I go on there to check a message, and then all of a sudden it's fucking 3 a.m. and I'm watching memes about a man eating food or something. Like it's mad.
Well, apparently, addictive things should only be legal as long as Zach Polanski disagrees.
True. Thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a membership. Much love.
Manage themselves. Children, we need to protect.
It's interesting, though, hearing you make this argument, because for many people, you came to real prominence when you were the government minister saying freedom of speech had to be protected. When
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
And it's not a very conservative policy, is it? Basically, you're trying to limit a business and what they can do.
Yeah.
And also...
It isn't very free market, that is true.
It's almost like, right? It's almost like, right? Come in, chat. Come a little bit closer, right? No, closer than that, right? It's almost as if that there are loads of negative externalities that the free market creates because it self-selects what's profitable, not what's good for humanity or good for people, right? Turns out that if you let the free market do its thing, sometimes kids commit suicide. Maybe free markets aren't good.
Yeah. Are you suggesting that there is a contradiction between human need and human greed?
I may sort of be inferring that people like me, Badenoch, might know the price of everything and the value of nothing.
True.
Can do with their kids. Don't parents know better than government?
No, it's a very conservative government. It's a policy. It's a very conservative policy.
To tell people what to do in their own homes?
Well, children, we tell
She was right. This is a very conservative government. You're correct. Yeah. Well done.
children what to do all the time. Children are not adults. Freedom is for adults. We need to protect children.
Children are slaves. They have no freedom.
Seen and not heard.
And also,
parents,
yes,
what to do?
Well, this is the thing. Many parents want to do this, don't know how, and say they need help. Most parents are asking for assistance. And the reason why it is a conservative policy is because it gets the balance right on common sense. We're not trying to ban every single thing. This is why I didn't like the word ban. We're not trying to,
No,
but you are banning it.
Jesus Christ. The word ban doesn't mean banning everything. If you ban child porn, it doesn't mean you're banning cottage pie. What the fuck is wrong with you? What, did you not understand the word ban? Does she literally think it means absolute prohibition on everything? Is that the level we're at now? We've got this fucking dullard as the bulwark against government. You're the opposition.
It reminds me of that David Mitchell bit from fucking Would I Lie to You from like fucking 20 years ago now, must be some shit. Talking about, like, there was a bit like Would I Lie to You is that it turns out that there's a at the Conservative Party conference every year, Mike Reid does a self-written rap.
Yeah, a rap about politics, and he just goes off on this rant. Mike Reid, 10 minutes, rapping. Do they ever want to get back into government ever again?
It's just, yeah, it's like, well, how this is how Tony Blair's allowed to start illegal wars that nobody wants, just because there's nobody in opposition.
Yeah, literally, literally. Someone in my chat must not Google cottage pie porn. It exists. Look, it exists.
Rule 34. Rule 34.
I guarantee it exists. And you know what? Yummy.
Yum yum.
Stop people from using Twitter. What we're trying to say is that, hang on, there's all this draconian legislation. It's clearly not working. Why don't we just do the simple thing first and get the kids off social media, not off the internet, but social media has other things. The volume, the speed, the scale, the ability for strangers to contact children. I don't...
Oh, fuck it. We've mentioned it, so we might as well play it. It is an absolute belter of a clip.
Please no.
What?
Copyright cock, please.
Oh, is it going to copy? Do you want to? Should we not then?
I'm gonna reverse the thing.
Okay. Well, Leslie Ash had a lot of work done, didn't she? Fuck me. You good?
Yeah.
Did you know that Mike Reid often does a musical turn at the Tory party conference? And last year it was a 10-minute political rap.
You notice how the whole mood has dropped since we saw a clip of Margaret Thatcher? Nobody wants to live anymore. Oh, yeah, I remember that bitch. Yeah. So what bit of the Tory... Is this like the main assembly bit? Yes. After the Shadow Chancellor's done his speech? Now, as usual, what you're all here for, Mike Reed's 10-minute rap.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that Tories are a bit stuffy and boring, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're stuffy and boring, but they're not, you know, complete morons.
I think it's true, because the Tory party are so out of sync with reality. That's the sort of thing that they might go, Mike Reed's very popular, isn't he? Mike Reed.
It all makes sense. Yeah. I don't think they can be that out of sync with reality and still know where Parliament is.
That's a fucking good line.
I just don't think it's true.
I mean, it's funny, right? In that this is what politics was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When they were just like, well, the Tories, yeah, it's out of touch, poshos, right? But they're not like... Now, it's literally just, like, full of insane people.
A bunch of fascist slags.
We think it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie, OK. Let's find out if you're right, Lee.
It actually is true. It's a very hard way to do this.
I'm sorry. How are they ever going to get back into office? Aren't they trying? Is it match fixing? Is someone bribing them to be terrible at politics? Mike Reed, 10 minutes, rapping. What the f*** is that? Democracy in this country. You know, the reason Tony Blair can start wars for without asking people is because there's no opposition. It's their fault. It's Mike Reed's fault. The deaths of our servicemen are his conscience.
Fucking true.
Incredible.
You love to see it, Joe.
I think that's right, and I think we need to start recognizing what social media is, rather than pretending it's just an encyclopedia where children are learning. That's not quite what it is.
Dealing with tech is a really big modern policy dilemma for governments all over the world and opposition parties too. But there's another dilemma for the traditional parties in the UK. It looks right now that politics is really about two big blocks, not two big traditional parties. If it was the only way of getting Labour out of power, would you ever consider doing a deal with Reform?
Why would I do that? Reform want to do the same things that Labour wants to do. They want to increase welfare spending. They want to nationalise, Rolls-Royce, oil and gas.
What the fuck? Yeah, that's the thing you're annoyed about.
Whoa. But I'm calling bullshit. What Nigel Farage Rolls-Royce?
Nigel Farage has probably made some statement about, like, oh, maybe it would be a thing we could look at or something, and that's enough. That's enough. That's policy now.
Reform would partially nationalise Rolls-Royce through strategic stake. What? From City AM.
Don't know. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
What we would so this is a quote from Zia Youssef. What we would do is say, Rolls-Royce, we're going to give you a huge contract for this British stuff, small modular reactor tenders in the UK, and we will front load your capital so you can have certainty it's going to happen, he says. And adding, by the way, if we're giving them priority access to the British market with a massive contract, maybe the British taxpayer should be given a stake in the company. So it's not nationalisation. They're asking for an equity stake, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's not the same as nationalisation. Well, it is funny that essentially that the Reform UK policy is just what the Labour Party policy was fucking under... Neil Kinnock.
Basically, yeah. Again, yeah, that's the thing. The Overton window has moved so far to the right that basic, just social democracy, which was just middle of the road politics, centrism, basically, back in the 70s and 60s, post-war period, and now it's like the mad leftist communoids believe in it,
That's true. And on top of this, what's interesting as well is that this seems to be on the similar lines of the populist playbook of Le Pen and Trump, in the Trump was like, we're gonna have a 10% stake in Intel, whatever it was. We're gonna bring 10% of the Intel into public control. We're gonna interfere with bond buying to bring down mortgage rates for mortgage-backed securities. We're gonna cap credit card interest, right? A bunch of interference in the market that was basically only ever going to be done by a right-wing party. Because if a left-wing party tried to do it, they would get accused of being communists, right? Whereas as long as you're somebody who wants to fucking murder minorities, essentially, you can get away with it because people are too busy talking about how much of a racist you are. They don't kind of go all fucking apeshit about the fact that you want to do, you know, literally any state policy that works in the interest of normal people.
Yeah.
I want us to let this country thrive. We need to get Britain working again. We are about unleashing the animal spirits of the country, allowing people to create...
The animal spirit of the country? I'm sorry, are you a fucking hippie now? What is this? Inside you there are two wolves, a Conservative and a Labour wolf. Oh, shut the fuck up.
The growth. It's not government that creates growth. There are two different types of authoritarianism. There are two different types of grievance. We are different. So
they're authoritarian.
Yes. When you look at the sort of things that a lot of the people in Reform talk about in terms of using the state to control things, that's not where we want to be. Right now, I believe that...
You want to have ICE. You want to have your own version of ICE. You want to ban trans people from existing.
Literally, yeah. But I was about to go the even more simple one. You were literally just talking about the power of government to stop children from accessing social media.
But it's not a ban, though.
But it's not a ban, and clearly she doesn't believe that that's authoritarian, even though literally, apparently, using the government to control things is authoritarian. Okay. I'll be honest with you. She's not selling me on the idea of her being Prime Minister.
No.
I don't think I'll be voting for her, to be honest.
Government is doing too much. We're spending too much. We need to actually step back, focus on the things that only government can do, like defense, like policing, and actually allow business to grow. Instead, what Labour is doing is it's taxing business. It is, I find it, quite draconian, a lot of what it is doing, which is restrictive.
But not the arresting people and killing them on hunger strike and stuff. That bit's fine and not authoritarian, actually.
Like the Online Safety Act, we're going to talk about the protest laws that the Conservative government brought into force by the Police Act, right? Like Peace and Crime Bill.
Yeah.
I just wonder, you've been in the job for just over a year now, and it's our first conversation in 2026, and the Tories polling, looks a bit healthier than it has done for some time. Have you changed how you do the job in the last year?
Again, narrative forming, it's not healthy. A person who is dead is less healthy than someone who is about to die, but that's not healthy.
And on top of this, right, like, they've gone up a couple of points because a bunch of people have realised that Reform UK are full of nut jobs and have moved back to the Tories, having previously voted for the Tories, right? They're just recouping some of their lost votes to Reform due to people having, at least somewhat of a sense that Reform UK are full of shit. That's not anything to, they're not winning over anyone from the other side. They're not convincing anybody of their ideology because they don't talk about anything that they believe in. All they do is just go, oh, Labour do bad things, Labour bad. Keir Starmer bad. I'm like, yeah, we know Keir Starmer bad, right? But what are you fucking proposing?
Is Kemi's spirit animal a lemming? Oh.
So true.
Though interestingly, lemmings don't throw themselves off cliffs. That was a bit from a film. They drove Land Rovers at them to commit suicide for a film.
Wow.
Yeah, Walt Disney was a bad man.
Here, or have you just got more experience to draw on?
I think it is more experience. The first thing I did on becoming leader was actually stop talking and start listening. I had lots of town halls, going out to businesses, places, no cameras, just hearing from people. Now I've started talking, and I think that's what's making the difference. And as Labour is in government longer, it's clearer what they are doing. So it is clearer what we are opposing, not just reflexive opposition.
I remember too, just before you started the job, there was some suggestion and some reporting that some of your colleagues thought you could be a bit abrasive and a bit rude. You said you might soften your approach. Have you done that? Because in Prime Minister's questions, you seem to be doing the opposite.
Yes, I have done the opposite in Prime Minister's questions. I'm trying to channel the anger that a lot of people out there feel about the way the country is being run. But I've always been very collegiate with colleagues. We are a team. The Conservative Party is the most united party. We're not a one-man band.
Lol. Literally all of them want to get rid of you, and they're going to. And you know that.
I mean, they probably are they are reasonably united because, everybody who was outside of their fucking wingnut headbanger coalition got excised from the party by Boris Johnson.
We're not all squabbling amongst ourselves like Labour are on the economy or on who's going to be Prime Minister. We've learned a lot of lessons. I'm not saying that it was perfect when we were there, but we've acknowledged our mistakes. We've learned a lot of lessons, and we think we're the only party that's both competent enough and brave enough to take the tough decisions that will get the country in the right place.
Kemi Badenoch, thanks very much indeed for joining us at the beginning of 2026. We'll see you soon.
Freak. Absolute freak. Loser. You okay?
Yes, I was just yawning.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
indeed.
bell end.
And next week, Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, is the one in the hot seat. Do get in touch. You can let us know what you would like us to raise with him. And
So we've had a Thatcherite freak, and next week we've got a Thatcherite freak. Oh, don't you love the choice of British politics?
don't forget, a bit later in the programme, we will be hearing Lord Mandelson's first interview since he was sacked from his job as American ambassador. Gloria, it's interesting.
Let's be honest. Should we just skip these freaks and go to Yum Yum?
Yeah, I can't be honest with Heidi Alexander either. Like, literally nobody in politics' opinions I care about less than Heidi Alexander.
Fair. Fascist weirdo. You're all fucking cunts. Go away. Skip. Hang on. Well, YouTube, stop being shit.
How much talking is there? Fuck me.
Yeah, they have. There's a long bit here. Come on now. Okay.
Lord Mandelson has been one of the most influential figures in Labour for decades. There he is back in the day. But his tenure as...
Was that one of the times he had to resign previously?
It's 3 times now.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah. But there they are, best friends there. The Yum Yum and the Dum Dum.
Ambassador to the Trump White House came to a crashing end when embarrassing emails between him and his friend, the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, emerged. His relationship hadn't been a secret, but Downing Street booted him out when the messages emerged. He's kept his counsel about what happened until now, but has returned to the fray this week with his...
Well, no, to be fair, they booted him out a day after the emails emerged.
having previously defended him before the emails were made public, but crucially after they'd been told about the emails.
Yeah.
Like,
also,
they were happy to defend a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, a friend who had defended Epstein after his conviction of sex crimes, right?
Yeah.
When they knew about it and the public didn't.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Yum and
take
yummer, love
on
it.
how the UK...
Yum and yummer. Sorry. Okay, that hit the right spot. That was nice.
and its allies should respond to Trump's unorthodox diplomacy.
You need to understand that he feels that we live in a world that's full of conflicts, of hard power.
Oh wow! So he fundamentally he understands at least one thing then. Brilliant.
I mean, he's definitely enjoys. Donald Trump definitely enjoys some hard power.
Sure.
Rivalry, and particularly between the United States and China, and that sometimes nettles have to be grasped, and that requires deterrence. If you want peace, you get peace through strength, but also sometimes you'll have to use force as well.
I'm sorry, what's really stupid, right, is that peace through strength has always been a fucking lie.
Yeah.
It's always been like all of these breakouts of conflict have happened in the midst of an arms race, right?
Yeah.
Peace through strength means you get strong, you therefore incentivize other countries to get strong. Once you spent all this money on weaponry, like, it would be a waste for it to, it would be a waste to not use it, right? Like, peace through strength has never been true, right? The World War I and World War II were both kind of at the end of the precipice of a huge amount of militarization, a huge amount of armament, of people engaging in rearmament,
massive arms races.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Lord Peter File.
We've got to understand that and not simply react the whole time to the language he uses.
But it's more than language, though, isn't it? It's action. You suggesting that the UK and its allies simply give up on the rules they've tried to promote for so long?
No, you don't ignore international law.
Looks like he does.
But you have to recognise, Laura.
What the fuck? You can't just say we don't ignore international law when that's literally all we do.
Yeah, whether it's the US or Israel.
Literally, look, twisting themselves in knots. Like, supporting the Venezuela thing or Israel and then being like, but we support international law. No. Those two things are mutually exclusive.
Yep.
No.
That there are many countries, and bad actors in this world who do not obey the rules. They don't follow the rules. And
also, why is this man not in jail? Go to jail.
Well, I mean, there's not been any proof that any crimes he's committed, right?
He's a fucking nonce. He's a nonce. We shouldn't be listening to him. We shouldn't be listening to him.
I mean, regardless of whether he is or not, again, people can show me evidence if they want. The fact is that the fact that somebody is openly in like a central part of the body politic who openly defended Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted is crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
If you take Putin's invasion,
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Or Iran's
Buy yourself a
actions
Kit Kat.
spewing out, spreading violence and terrorism across the Middle East through their funding of Hamas.
Wow, I wonder if there are any other organisations doing terrorism in the Middle East, like, I don't know, the IDF maybe. That sort of thing. Because that's still happening, by the way. Again, whilst we're talking about the Greenland debacle, we're not talking about the fact that they're still murdering Palestinians now. There's no there's no ceasefire because they haven't ceased firing.
And also talk about people in the Middle East who enjoy sponsoring terrorism. Should we talk about the United Arab Emirates?
Yeah, no, they're the good authoritarians though, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter, for the donation. Much love to you.
Of Hezbollah, the Houthis, etc. Now, I'm not saying, just let me make it absolutely clear again, that we ignore international law in our response to these countries, but sometimes, I'm afraid, as a last resort, very difficult, very complex situations require decisiveness. They require sometimes force, but also, above all, for those of us in the West, they really require us working together.
But when it comes to Greenland, though, specifically in the last 36 hours, he has said, we'll take it the easy way or the hard way. That's a military threat to a NATO ally.
I know, but we all know, don't we? President Trump is not going to sort of, land on Greenland, take Greenland by force, occupy the whole...
They're literally saying that, Peter. They are literally openly saying that.
They are, but I think... Okay. I think he's agreeing with the position I have here, which it doesn't make me feel great. But I think it is a distraction. I don't think he intends to really do this. I genuinely don't. It's a distraction from Venezuela, which itself was a distraction from, ironically, Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, I think all of this is a distraction from the fucking incinerated economy.
Which exactly. It's very much a Matryoshka doll of like distractions from his fuck ups, basically.
But I do think that Donald Trump would fucking invade another country so people forgot about his failure at home. That was basically the Thatcher playbook with the Falklands.
Oh, it's a well trodden path. Yeah.
Yeah.
Distract by doing war. It's been around for fucking hundreds of years. Yeah.
Oh, he's not going to
do
that?
No, but I'm offering you my best judgment. As somebody who's observed him at fairly close quarters, he's not a fool. What's going to happen is there's going to...
He is. He very much is. The fact that he gets, talked... you can smooth talk him to the point where, Zohran Mamdani had him in the palm of his hand. Macron, honestly, Macron has played this fool brilliantly. And I don't say that lightly because Macron is scum. But every time he goes and meets with Macron, he comes out speaking exactly as Macron would want him to speak. Because he's played him like a flute.
Well, the reality, of course, is this is why Keir Starmer being a fucking supine invertebrate is the worst strategy possible. Trump only understands strength.
Yeah.
He only understands strength, right? So Mamdani going in there and refusing to take any shit is exactly the way in which he's been able to get Donald Trump round by by having a straight back, standing up to the bully, right? And Keir Starmer now has essentially told Trump, we will give you anything and everything that you want, right? Massively increase the amount of money the NHS spends giving to American big pharma fucking shareholders, right? Massively, continue to make us kind of grovel for even a basic trade deal in the wake of the tariffs from Liberation Day, right? Of course they will, and they'll keep giving in because Keir Starmer doesn't know how to fucking fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. just towing the line won't work. Weakness will be exploited. It's not. It won't be seen as loyalty. It'll be seen as weakness.
Be a lot of discussion, a lot of consultation, a lot of negotiation, and at the end of the day, we are all going to have to wake up to the reality that the Arctic needs securing against China and Russia. And if you ask me who is going to lead...
Why? What are they doing there? What?
And again, like, that security already exists. It's a NATO country, Greenland. It is part of Denmark. There are already American military bases there.
Yeah, there's a huge military base there. It's fine. What the fuck are Russia going to be able to do? Have you seen the Russian Navy? It's been sunk by Ukraine. They haven't got anything.
Yeah, like, and half of it's a fucking rehashed old Soviet tech anyway. It's just... I just drive around the fucking bend. There's so much of the shitty politics that everyone hates is just entirely being driven by people going, "Oh, Russia and China, oh, Russia, China," and it's like, no, you're just trying to fucking make excuses for your shitty policy. Give us things that are actually materially beneficial for the people that live in these countries, right? Rather than just pretending that you have to, things have to continue worse forever because all Russia, China.
No welfare, nothing. No spending at all, just imperialism.
Yeah.
You'll get imperialism and you'll be happy.
In that effort to secure, we all know, don't we, that it's going to be the United States.
But it is clear, though, from Donald Trump's actions and his rhetoric, that he is no longer willing to provide the security guarantees for our continent, for Europe, that America has for such a long time. So
I'm sorry, it's not clear that he's not prepared to provide security guarantees.
Not the same level of security guarantee. Okay. That's what he said.
Well, what he's saying is that the piggybacking has got to stop. And will you recognise that too, our own Prime Minister?
It's this vassalage is what it is, right? I'm so fucking sick of this narrative the Trump regime have managed to convince everybody, despite it being totally untrue, that, well, actually, Europe's been taking America's security blanket for granted by spending their money on welfare. When, first of all, most European countries, especially NATO countries, do meet their NATO targets in terms of military spending, right? Most of them do meet their targets, especially the Baltic states and people who are on the real kind of Russian periphery. They all meet their NATO spending commitments. Second of all, what do we fucking think that America engaged in a security envelope in Europe the fucking out of the goodness of their heart? This was a benevolent action by the United States? Or was it, first of all, geopolitically significant for them to be able to subsume the militaries of other countries and have military bases across the world for their own imperial ends? And second of all, because it was good for them economically, because of the interlocking relationships that they now have with their vassal states in Europe, right? The idea that this wasn't a relationship that was highly beneficial for America is crazy talk, right? I'm sorry, the idea that they were doing it because they were just so kind and generous to not have a welfare state and spend on the military, it's an inversion of reality.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. It's ownership rather than gifting anything. There's a reason we allow you to have these huge military bases, because you own us. We are franchises,
Minister and Defence Secretary recognise that.
As things stand, the Prime Minister has given extra commitment to spend more on defence than had previously been planned. But do you think that level of commitment...
I'm sorry, but the money's got to follow. I think the principle is accepted. I think the funding is embraced, but I haven't seen the financial plans. Not for the future. Not in the way that they need to build up and
Why are we listening to this nonce saying that our public money needs to be spent on war? Why? Please tell me that, BBC.
Okay, we already hit our NATO spending commitments. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And we already have a big military. Like, this idea that we have the terrible military is never going to go to... I mean, like, we have a giant economy. We spend loads of that giant economy on the military, right? It's not a small military.
Mad.
In the years to come. And look, this is difficult. I mean, we have huge fiscal challenges on us as a country. So, of course, spending more on defence is going to be hard, but it is going to be necessary. And I'm afraid, not just in our own country, but in others too, we've yet to see the detail of those plans.
But how are leaders meant to respond when you say Donald Trump's actually not going to invade Greenland, he's not going to use the military against a NATO ally? But that's what he said repeatedly.
Yeah, but a lot of it is he's exercising American leverage, okay? He's getting people to focus. But if you take another country, like Iran, for example, he gave plenty of warning to the regime about what would happen and what he would follow through if...
So sometimes he's lying and sometimes he's not lying. How very reassuring.
They ceased their uranium enrichment. And at the end of the day, they didn't act, they wouldn't negotiate, and he went in and used force.
And he bombed them. And this weekend, he said if the Iranian regime were to shoot protesters in the streets who are out there trying to fight for a democratic way of life, America would shoot back.
I'm really not sure what he means by that, but I do know that there are millions of people in Iran.
But you're the Trump whisperer. How can you possibly not know what he means by that?
Who want their freedom back, who want to restore their democracy, and they look to us.
Unless they vote for someone we don't like, in which case we will coup them again. Just like last time.
United States, Britain, France, Germany and others as their friends to give them that support when the time comes.
You know that in your own party that sometimes the very thought of any more vigorous military intervention and even the thought of closer relationships with Donald Trump, to some people in your party and on the broader left and some people watching this interview, they think actually what the UK should be doing is condemning the way that Donald Trump behaves.
Look, I know there are many people, and not just in my party and not just in this country, who prefer pearl clutching and moral indignation and outrage over grasping a reality and doing something about it. We have got...
Okay, I'll grasp the reality that you're a paedophile and go to fucking jail then.
Well, the fucking stupid thing here is he's going, oh, well, they're just hand-wringing and getting upset about it. No, we want you to fucking do something. You're going, oh, well, there's a reality. I'm like, no, the thing is you get to choose reality. You get to choose your reaction. And your response is just suck it up, lick the cum up, be a good little dumpster, a Trump dumpster for the American regime and do your good duty as a vassal state. No, fuck off. Yes. No, it's bad. It's a violation of international, which you say that you apparently cherish, Peter. No, fuck off. Tell these motherfuckers to stop and get out of our fucking country.
Yeah. Also, again, he says out my party because he's still a member of the Labour Party. Still has the Labour whip now. Still today, right this very second.
To beef up our own diplomatic muscle. And indeed our own military hard power, and demonstrate that we are relevant and useful to the United States in what they have to do to keep the world a stable and a peaceful place. And if we don't...
America doesn't make the world a peaceful place. They've literally started a war and threatened another war in the same week.
And have backed to genocide.
And have backed to genocide for the last, 70 years, but especially the last 2 years, yeah. God almighty, what a fucking loser. Thank you, Bonky Boy. Much love to you.
Do that. If we don't demonstrate our relevance, then we can't expect to be taken seriously. We've got to ask ourselves, I think, whether our reaction is because we don't want any US president to act decisively, or whether actually we're simply allergic to Donald Trump.
Whose side is he on when it comes to Ukraine?
He is definitely on the side of maintaining and protecting the sovereignty, freedom and democracy of Ukraine.
You're
bullshit! Absolute, unmitigated bullshit.
My sources that I made it the fuck up.
Fucking talks with Kilimnik and Deripaxa, specifically about the annexation of Eastern Ukraine by Russia, right?
Yep.
These people have been owned by Putin from day one.
Yep, 100%. But, the Trump whisperer here knows, obviously.
Convinced by that? Is that something he said to you?
We have discussed it. I have no doubt that is the case. Now, how you bring about the end of Russia's invasion, how you reach a settlement between those two countries, and what it means territorially, obviously is open to debate and to negotiation.
Well, then it's not the sovereignty.
Did you
is
like
it?
Donald
Like, it's
Trump?
not the sovereignty and territorial integrity. Then is it?
Yeah. Did you like Donald Trump? This is the softest ball interview of a fucking pederast I've ever seen. This is pathetic. Even by your unbelievably fucking, not even low standards, your underneath the ground, your subterranean standards, this is low.
I found him. Did I like him? Yes, I liked his humour, his graciousness.
Graciousness? That's not a word that many people might associate with Donald Trump.
No, I know it isn't. I know it isn't because he has for many people he has a completely different image.
Yeah, you know what's gracious? Flying around with a plane with your surname written in 20-foot high letters on it. That's so gracious. He's such a lovely, charming, humble kind of a guy, you know?
Yeah, like raping people is certainly a very charming thing that Donald Trump did.
Yeah.
I liked his directness. You knew exactly what he was thinking and where you stood and what he wanted and
No,
how
you,
he
and you
was
don't.
proposing to
The man
engage,
fucking he's got dementia.
Yeah.
You haven't got a fucking clue what he's saying. He speaks in such vagaries. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Did I like all his language? No, I didn't. Did he make me gasp sometimes in some of the things?
Did I like the fact that we were both friends with noted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein? I'll leave that there.
He said, of course. But at the end of the day, President Trump is an extraordinary risk taker. And for me, in the world today, given all its conflicts and its dangers, and how I would define leadership of a country, I attach a lot of importance to somebody's preparedness to take risks, and he does, for good reason.
You don't need to suck his dick anymore. You're not the ambassador. Why are you doing this? This is really sad.
Because again, as Dahlia pointed out on Thursday, right? His modus operandi is sucking up to power.
Yeah,
it's
true.
understanding which way the winds are blowing in terms of power, and then being a dutiful handmaiden to it, because then it means you get to sit at the big kids' table, right?
Yeah, true.
Reasons in pursuit of good objectives.
Now, you lost your job as ambassador
Lol.
because of your friendship with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. You've said many times you regret that you were close to him. But there's a question many people have. It was one thing to be friends with him in the early 2000s, quite another to keep your friendship going with him when it was clear and he had a conviction for abusing young women. Why?
Well, because he already knew that that's what was happening and was absolutely fine with it. That's the actual answer. He won't say that, but that is the literal truth of it. If you were close personal friends with Jeffrey Epstein, you knew what he was. And you were at best passively accepting of it.
I find it difficult to believe that people just went
Yeah.
to the island and didn't know, right?
Yeah, like you can be an acquaintance with someone and not necessarily know what they're like in private, and you don't know all of their particular peculiarities. But if you're close personal friends for years, you've travelled to stay at various of their homes, you're close, intimate friends with them, you know what that person is, for good or for bad.
Yum.
Indeed.
Also, as Brody points out, they're not young women; they are girls, right? They were girls who were. But again, like if you were,
well, some of them, to be fair, some of them were of age. Not that makes it any better, but like for legal reasons, like yeah.
Yeah, but then of course somebody who like someone an underage person who gets trafficked to the Epstein Island is a young woman, yet a fully trained IDF tank pilot who happens to be assigned female at birth is just a teeny tiny little girl.
Small bean.
A small bean.
Did you stick with him?
Well, it was a most terrible mistake on my part.
Yeah, well, that's what it was,
I did-
Yeah.
It was just like when I left my keys at home. Well, it's just like when I accidentally I got like a wrong mark on my driving test. It's just a mistake. Just one of those mistakes you make every day. I just happened to be friends with a convicted sex trafficker. I just happened to continue to defend him after he'd been convicted. I just happened to stay at the penthouse office. There's just a long line of.
And he just happened to say
mistakes.
that he would do lobbying work to try and get him a lighter sentence as well.
Yep. I wrote a birthday card for him, saying that he was my best pal.
Yeah.
Just an unfortunate mistake.
Yeah, which is exactly like that. Whoops. Just a silly mistake like that time I walked into a room and forgot what I was there for, and I just walked out again. Ooh, it's crazy.
My bad. Whoops. Sorry for defending for the sex trafficker. Whoop.
Believed the story he told in 2008 in his first indictment in Florida. I accepted his story.
Right, but then when he was convicted, you still were like chummy chums. So that
you literally you openly fucking went to bat for him.
Yeah.
And I wish I hadn't. I gave my support to somebody because I believed what he was telling me, and it was misplaced loyalty.
You see, it was a good thing. It wasn't that I was defending a paedophile. I was just being loyal to a friend. And who can't think that? Like, everyone's been there. We've all been too loyal to a friend who's a bit of a wrong-un. Like, mostly involves, like, I don't know, getting your cock out when you're pissed or something. But no, for this guy, it's like, raping loads of people and trafficking them for decades!
And it's just like, oh, yeah, I mean, to be fair, that is basically our relationship with Israel. It's like, oh God. Our mates off on one again. Oh, typical.
It's very Prince Andrew. True. I don't think Peter Mandelson was guilty because he was in a Pizza Express in Woking for the entire decade, so it couldn't have been him. It was fine.
I have to say this to you. And
not only does he not sweat, he actually absorbs moisture from around him. He's like a sponge.
The most calamitous consequences for me. The crux of this is not me. The crux of this is not the friendship I had 25 years ago with Jeffrey Epstein. The crux of this is that so many hundreds of young women were completely trapped, powerless in a system that did not listen to what they had to say. I didn't hear their voices. Other people didn't hear their voices. They were disempowered.
This is disgusting. You're allowing this man to launder his evil on your fucking show.
Yeah. Just trying to pretend that he is deeply full of concern for the victims. Maybe you should have had some concern for the victims when you were batting for their abuser after he was convicted of doing it, right? Like, legal record, he did it.
Yeah.
You know they did it. That is a matter... right, as a matter of legality. There's a record that he did those things in the eyes of the law. And you defended him.
Yeah.
You defended him, you wanted him to get a lighter sentence. That, to me, doesn't look like caring about the victims, Peter.
Yeah.
Powered within that system.
During the time you spent with him, did you ever, at any point, see or hear anything that gave you any cause for concern? Anything whatsoever?
I was at the edge of this man's life.
You described.
I was at the edge of his life. You just said he was his best friend. He was your yum boy. There are literally pictures of you in a bathing robe at his fucking house.
You went to fucking birthday parties together.
Like, I'm sorry. If you're just like minor associates on the edge of his circle, you're not in a fucking bathing robe at his house. That's quite an intimate relationship, I would suggest.
Described him as your best pal.
Yeah. And they were awful, toe-curling messages.
Yeah, toe-curling is one way of describing it. Yeah. You go to jail. You need to be in jail. You really do.
And emails that were published. And they're very embarrassing. And
that's a word.
Just make me distraught every time I hear them. But I have to say to you.
So hang on, he hasn't answered the question. Did you see anything that was troubling?
If you were so distraught, Peter, why did you accept the ambassadorial role, given that you knew what you'd written?
Yeah.
Given you knew about everything, right? Why did you accept it? Why did you, as a continual loyal member of the Labour Party, because you love how loyal you are, why did you besmirch the name of the Labour Party by willingly accepting a role that you knew would scrutinise your relationship with convicted child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein?
Very good question.
And I can say this absolutely, I can say it to you categorically. I never saw anything in his life, when I was with him, when I was in his homes, that would give me any reason to suspect what this evil monster was doing.
So you just went to the islands on the no rape weekends, where he didn't do anything. Okay.
Yeah, you're such a monster. We didn't think he was a monster when you defended him after he was convicted of the monstrous things that you're saying are now monstrous.
Yeah, you think that would give you pause for thought about what a monster he might be? Because, like, if you didn't know, that's fair enough. I mean, it would be weird, but that's at least vaguely plausible. Once he's convicted, did that not make you think, oh, maybe he is a monster, actually? No?
Again, it's like he's trying to pretend that this is some kind of fleeting relationship and not something that was clearly very, very close.
Yeah. Over many, many years as well. There's no way he didn't know. If you're that close to someone, you know them. Jesus Christ.
In preying on these young women. Do you really think that if I knew what was going on and what he was doing with and to these vulnerable young women, that I'd have just sat back?
Yeah, yes. Because you're a monster as well. Yes, I absolutely believe that to be the case. Yes.
Ignored it and moved on and said, okay, that's his life, he can get on with it.
But
do you think I would have done that? Do you think I'd have written emails like that if I had had any one iota of knowledge or suspicion of what he was doing?
Well, you did, because you wrote them after he was convicted of it. So yes, literally yes.
Certainly would not.
But you did have the knowledge that he had a conviction.
Yes, and I believed.
He had a conviction for abusing
and I believed,
women.
And I believed his story
over a court.
And I believed I believed his story, and that of his lawyer, who spent a lot of time trying to persuade me of this, because I did go into it.
Oh, so it was just some shithouse pedo's fucking private lawyer who convinced him. Well, I'm glad we put him into a position of such fucking diplomatic power then. Because he can be so easily convinced of something which is ridiculous.
And he's so easily convinced that the judiciary and the jury and the whole legal system had somehow got it wrong in one of the most documented cases of child sexual exploitation in human history.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. Yeah, I was hard. Yeah, exactly. I hardly knew him really, but I was in close personal contact with his lawyer.
It all just fucking falls apart on like the basic level of scrutiny.
Yeah.
That he had been falsely criminalised in his contact with these young women. Now, I wish I had not believed that story.
You made clear, though, at the time also, you made clear when this story was running very hard, that as a gay man, you had never been offered any kind of sexual favour. There were never any conversations at all.
Because, of course, because he trafficked women, there's no way he would never stoop so low as to traffic young men. For a gay person he wanted to honeypot for Israel. No! Don't be silly. He's above that kind of thing. The notable fucking ethical standard of Jeffrey Epstein, Esquire. Fucking hell. The fact that he's gay means nothing. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't fuck women on those islands. Yeah, that's true.
I honestly, at this point, I actually don't even care whether or not that he did anything or not, because at the end of the day, we'll never probably know, because the evidence probably never come out. And the reality, of course, is that he knew that he had done the things that he did, and he still defended it. Like, it's just we have plenty of pertinent evidence showing that this man is a fucking wrong.
Yeah.
This man, I think, just an absolute moral fucking sewer. And that's not even talking about his time as an official of the fucking Labour Party.
Yeah.
Right? An absolute wrong, and he should be nowhere near politics, public life, the public realm, let alone in the most privileged and most high-level ambassadorial role potentially in the world. Right?
Indeed. Yeah, he apparently the lawyer was Jeffrey Epstein. For Jeffrey Epstein, sorry, was Alan Dershowitz. So it was a nonce defending a nonce, convincing a nonce that the other nonce wasn't a nonce. Honestly, it's just fractal noncing.
Possibly some people will think because that I'm a gay man, I was sort of insensitized or I wasn't attuned to what was going on.
Oh yeah, no, it's the homophobia against you. That's the real problem here.
It's all real Kevin Spacey in it.
It
I
is.
was friends with a sex trafficker, but you can't have a go at me because I'm gay.
This is liberal identity politics taken to the most ridiculous extreme possible. You can't criticise me as a gay man. Did you know that? Just stop homo bashing me just because I was friends with a pedo, please.
I don't really accept that. I think the issue is that because I was a gay man in his circle, I was kept separate from what he was doing in the sexual side of his life. Do you want...
This is fucking mad. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you know the pedo. He was very... his social graces were so good that he wouldn't have sex with a lady when there was a gay around. As to not offend the gay in question, of course. His decorum in his international sex trafficking ring was par excellence. What are you talking about? For fuck's... It's like they're going about like fucking... you know, the trans bathroom stuff, and like, if rapists don't care to follow the rules banning you from raping people, I don't think they give a fuck about signage either. I don't think they care whether it says men and women on the fucking toilets or unisex or anything. They've gone past that moral point, you know? Fucking hell.
To take this chance to apologise to his victims for your association with him, which went years beyond his original conviction.
I want to apologise to those women for a system that refused
A
to
system,
hear their voices.
not me, a system that let them down.
When the system eventually caught the man. The system eventually prosecuted and convicted the man for the crimes that you then defended him.
Yeah. They made him sit in the gay room.
Like that bit in The Simpsons where there's like the rejects corner at the slave the auction.
Well, I was thinking more like a mosque where they've got like, the room that women have to sit in. He had one of those for the gays. Look, we're going to do a bit of... Well, I won't talk about it because we don't want you to know about it or anything like that. So, you know, because obviously you don't know anything about this. Go and sit in the not gay room and we're just going to do innocent stuff out here. But don't open the door at any point, please.
The noises are just films.
Yeah, exactly. Just watching some action films. Yeah.
And did not give them the protection they were entitled to expect.
You apologise for your association with him after his conviction.
That system gave him protection and not them. If I had known,
You gave him protection as well. It's not the system, it's you. I mean, it is also the system, right? Okay, the system did let those people down. But he's a part of that. He was one of the agents of that system.
In any way complicit or culpable, of course I would apologise.
But you won't
for it.
For your association with him after his conviction.
But I was not culpable. I was not knowledgeable of what he was.
Because he was in the gay room.
And
yeah,
I regret and will regret to my dying day the fact that powerless women were not given the protection they were entitled to expect.
Then we come to your time as ambassador. At the highest levels of government, people felt...
Oh, we've moved on from that then. Okay, cool.
You'd misled them about how close you were to Epstein.
Oh, no, she hasn't. Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Continued after his conviction. And the line from the government was that you were sacked because new information came to light. That's what they said. Is that true? Or do you think you told them everything?
That's a long pause, P. That's a long pause, mate. You've got to be snappier with that answer. That's instantly guilty. Instantly guilty.
The emails that were published came as a huge surprise and a huge shock to me, not just to them.
What? The ones that you wrote? How are they a shock to you? How bad is your memory? You don't remember the emails you sent defending a pedo? Because like that seems like something you would.
Letter?
Yeah, the yum yum letter. Like the Zimmerman telegram. It's going to go down in history. Fuck's sake.
They no longer existed on my server, long since disused. I was unable...
Right, but you have a fucking brain. You remember your own name and where you live, so you're capable of retaining information in your fucking skull, right? So, but you were surprised by this. Fucking hell.
To share emails with them that I didn't recall and I didn't possess.
Did you deserve to be sacked?
I understand why I was sacked.
It's a different question.
I've been there. I understand why he took...
You have been there. This is the third time you've had to be sacked / resigned. Yeah, we know. It's almost like you're a fucking liability.
And it's funny, like, I think he still thinks, well, they only got rid of me because it was bad publicity. And I'm like,
Well, he did this the first 2 times as well. He literally was like, oh, I'll be back. It's fine.
Darth Mandelson.
And you can tell that he basically is correct in that because he hasn't been kicked out of the party. So he'll be back. They'll find something for him. He'll get an ambassadorial role or something somewhere. Well, assuming the Labour Party don't disintegrate, which could happen. In which case he'd probably join fucking Reform, who knows? They've got plenty of nonces. In their membership, I should say. No, I'm not making aspersions about the MPs. Obviously.
Decision he did, but one thing I'm very clear about is I'm not going to seek to reopen or relitigate this issue.
Oh no, is he 72? Okay, maybe he won't be back then. Yeah. Hopefully he dies. I'm going to make partner this year, definitely.
Partner push 2026. Let's go.
Let's go.
The person said the emails showed the depth and extent of Peter Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was materially different from that known at the time of his appointment. In particular, his suggestion that Epstein's first conviction was
not true. You absolutely knew that he was into support of a pedo after he'd been convicted. I pointed this out the day he was fucking ensconced in that position. I didn't know about those particular emails, but I knew he supported him. That was public knowledge.
was wrongful and should be challenged was new of information.
It wasn't.
In light of that, and mindful of the victims of Epstein's crimes, he was withdrawn as ambassador with immediate effect. And a longer version of that interview will be available on iPlayer and BBC Sounds later. And do let us know what you think of his...
I think he's an evil piece of shit, and that you're an equally evil piece of shit for allowing him to try and launder his image without reasonable pushback.
I agree, 100%. Fuck these people. Again, you can't come back from it. You can't come back from defending this shit. Like,
yeah. Indeed, you can't. You really can't. Like, and again, this was not the emails, but the rest of it was public knowledge before this, and they still appointed him because the Politburo wanted him. Simple as that.
Yep, they thought he would be good. Again, they probably is just kind of sort of true. They thought, well, probably bumped into Trump on the island sometime.
Yeah, Trump was passing by the gay room and he popped his head out and went, "Oh, hello, Donald. How are you?" I'm not really supposed to be out here because apparently they're doing stuff. I wonder why you're out here, Donald. Are you doing the stuff? I don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. Anyway, yeah, fucking evil bastards. Really, really bad.
Do we care about
No! Fuck Heidi Alexander. Fuck Gloria De Piero. Fuck Mosley. Fuck whoever the other bitch is with a double-barrel surname. And fuck Laura Koonsberg. I have no interest in listening to any of them. The shower of piss.
True.
So, on that bombshell, we shall end proceedings.
Shall we raid into the noisy immigrant?
I'm on board with that, definitely. Let me edit video. Too late for me tonight to catch on the VOD. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Are you streaming tomorrow? To the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I should be. Should be an afternoon streams. I'm busy in the evenings on Mondays now.
Fair dues. On Monday. Oh, are you doing Navarra on Mondays as well then?
No, I just have stuff on.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Noisy. I can't see it.
He's live on Twitch at the very least.
Yeah, but how am I spelling? Not noisy.
Or just the noisy immigrant.
Oh, okay. Noisy. There they are. Okay. Yeah. So check me out and check. Go and follow No Justice MTG on all the platforms.
And do likewise with Careful Look on 1875. That's an order.
Cool. Free Palestine and free Venezuela.
And indeed, and Sudan, and free. I don't know. Free Willy.
Fuck yes.
Bye.